Big game on deck here tonight as the Bowling Green Falcons are taking on the Miami Redhawks of Ohio, number 22 ranked in the country. Welcome in to the Colleen Center studio here in Bowling Green, Ohio. I'm Sam Bork. Alongside a trio of analysts here, we have Adam Duffin, Trey Kennedy, and Jacob Kopaz. Welcome in, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Sam.
Very excited to get this one rolling.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Sam.
Of course, yeah. And obviously, Adam and Trey are women's basketball guys, jumping ship over here to talk about the matchup tonight. So, yeah, like I said, big game here. Miami of Ohio, still undefeated, the only team left in the country. No other time ever has a MAC team been the remaining undefeated team in the country. So, lots to be excited about here. Should be a great game, hopefully. I mean, we know what happened last time against these teams, so obviously big games mean big crews. So we have our three-man broadcast crew here tonight. Tyler Kavelitz, Artie Abrego, and Foster Rostai are up very high up on the catwalk down in Oxford, Ohio. So we will send it out there in just a few minutes here once we get going here, but going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will we'll take a closer look at where the Bowling Green Falcons stand as we head into the final stretch of MAC play. So you are listening to the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show on Falcon Radio.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Welcome back to the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show for tonight's coverage of the Bowling Green Falcons and the 22-ranked Miami of Ohio. So, guys, looking at Bowling Green, currently sitting at 6th in the conference standings. It's been a rough kind of stretch of games here. So, I mean, what have you seen from Bowling Green that's either improved or remained a concern on both ends of the floor?
For me, I'd say it's been inconsistent. You know, they beat Toledo, and then Kent State, they continue to have struggles. Tyler Kavelitz, one of the people calling today's game, he mentioned that they are 6-18 against the teams that have been above them in the MAC in Todd Simon's tenure. He's the head coach for the Falcons, and overall, you know, just having where you go back and forth of you play up to where you really should be, and other times you play below. It's difficult, and that's why they're 6th right now in the conference. But there's a chance to move on up to 4th. They're a half game behind Toledo, a full game behind Ohio. So definitely a chance for them to still have a chance down the stretch.
They shot the ball really well against Toledo this past Saturday, and that's where you really can see this team reach its highest peak, right? And so if they can find some of that momentum today and keep it close with Miami, I think it can go a long way today.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, Trey. I mean, this team, like they alluded to earlier, they're very inconsistent, but when they are playing their best basketball, I do believe they can contend with any team in the MAC. I mean, they play really good defense, they shoot well, and I think if they really just play their best game of the season, they have a really good chance today against Miami.
And that kind of alludes into my next question. You know, where do you feel that this Bowling Green team has grown the most so far as we reach, you know, the end of the season?
Well, it's a tough thing where you try to find the identity throughout the season. A lot of new players. There's always these transfers now in college basketball. So just finding their rhythm throughout the season. And, you know, they only lost by 10 the first time they played Miami. It was a game where they had a bad first half, really good second half. But, you know, it's not impossible to, you know, beat this Miami team. Now, it has been undefeated so far, but there's been a lot of close games, and if Bowling Green can play up to their potential for a full 40 minutes of action, you know, they'll definitely have a chance in the final winning minutes, or, you know, final 3 minutes, whatever you want to say.
I mean, I think it's clear and obvious. Javante Campbell, Troy Glover, and Sam Towns, those are clearly one of their three best players So if they have those 3 players going and playing at their best levels today, I mean, that's who you got to rely upon, right? Javante Campbell, of course, one of their best overall players. But overall, those 3 for Bowling Green, if they have any shot at getting anywhere in the MAC, it's because of those 3 players.
Yeah, I mean, also, like they were alluding to earlier with, I mean, BG, they're only giving up about 70.5 points a game. And they're going against the best scoring team in the MAC right now, Miami. So if they can play their best defense and keep doing what they're doing with all the other MAC teams and show that they do have that true defensive identity, they can really come out, and I think they can surprise some people today.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And so now moving over to Miami, obviously we can talk about how, they're undefeated, they're nationally ranked, they've had all this attention on them all season. I mean, just how significant is it for a MAC program to be in this position in this season, being undefeated, one of the the only remaining undefeated team left in the country?
It's very significant. We were talking about it before the show on how rare it is for a MAC team to be ranked or at least stay ranked throughout the season. And it's just the national attention that it has given these teams, moving this game to CBS Sports Network now for the television audience. The previous week, they had the game against Ohio move to that. Like, it helps boost not only Miami, but all the other teams. And it's really going to test the selection committee on where they want to seed this Miami team based on how the end of the season goes.
I think Miami has they have 6 players, obviously, scoring and averaging in double figures per game. Peter Sutter, Brant Byers. Bowling Green's going to have their hands full tonight, and it's because of those 2 players. And if they can really minimize what they do on the offense and defensive end, I think Bowling Green's going to have a better chance in this one and hopefully pull off the upset. But overall, again, Miami has so much to go for them. The coach that they have and the history that they have as a program, it's just phenomenal. And what they've been able to accomplish this year have been awesome.
I mean, adding on to that, I mean, with a MAC school, like we said earlier, it's not too often to see one be ranked and then continue to stay ranked through the duration of the season. But, I mean, this is also a very, very good Miami team. We can't skip past that. They are the highest shooting field goal percentage in the nation. That's not just the MAC. That is the entire nation. So they are still a very good basketball team. They spread the rock very well. And like Trey said earlier, they have 6 players scoring 10 or more points a game. So you're going to have to be playing probably your best defense of the season to make sure that you don't have a lot of points dropped on your head.
Yeah, they rank 4th in the nation in points per game with 92.3. They are certainly one of the hottest offenses in the country, no doubt about that. And so now for my next question, we were talking about this earlier. If Miami does finish the regular season undefeated, but they end up falling in the MAC tournament, whether that be, the early round somehow or, in the MAC championship to one of those other teams like Akron or Kent State, do you think they've done enough to still earn a bid into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you go undefeated a whole 30 games in regular season, that's almost impossible to do in basketball. It's a rare occurrence, and just all these close games they won, that's what good teams do. They win overtime games. They've won 3 overtime games this year, and 2 of those were within conference play. So it's just overall very, very impressive. And as well, if they lose in the tournament, I think the only way they would not get a bid for the NCAA tournament is if they lost in the first round to the 8th seed, and they would have to lose badly. And even then, you could make a case that they get in after that.
I agree 100% with Adam. There's no doubt if this Miami team goes undefeated and, say, lose in the championship round, that they don't get into the March Madness tournament. I think they're a lock. And like Adam just said, if they were to lose in the first round, then yes, you have a case to be made where they don't get in. But even at that, I think Miami's put together such a resume, being undefeated, the last undefeated team in the nation at this point, whereas you would not have a chance to be in the March Madness tournament. And I think it's awesome that we're having this discussion. 2 teams potentially would be in the March Madness tournament, which would be awesome to have to watch for as well.
Yeah, I mean, like they were talking about earlier, I mean, this team is finding ways to win games. I mean, it's not by luck that you go on and win 26 straight games. You have to be a good basketball team to do that. And, I mean, like Adam was talking about earlier, it wasn't just it's not like they're winning by blowouts every single game. It's close games, overtime games. I mean, they're winning in all different kinds of fashion, which is something that a great basketball team does.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So we'll take another quick break. Stay with us. When we return, we'll head live to Oxford for a preview of tonight's matchup. You are listening to the Falcon Media Sports pregame show here on Falcon Radio.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
You are listening to Falcon basketball coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network live on Falcon Radio.
Welcome on in here to Millett Hall. We are still just about 15 minutes away from the starting lineups being introduced here in Oxford, Ohio. And the energy, guys, in this arena is already palpable. We saw people coming into the arena 90 minutes before tip-off.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, when you get a nationally ranked team, especially your hometown team, in the MAC, it's nothing better than to come out and support them. And the Miami Redhawk faithful has been nothing but faithful to this team. They've been out every game. I mean, they had their biggest rival against Ohio last Friday, and this place was packed from beginning to end. They've had such a great environment this year, and it's just so good to see a MAC team have a great environment.
And we can see that entire environment right now because we are up in space right now. We're up on the moon. We are on the catwalk where we can view the entire arena. I'm only slightly a little bit freaked out. If anyone knows, I have a thing with heights, but we can see the entire arena.
I don't know, I'd say, 50, 100 feet up, somewhere in there. We're about 10 feet higher than the highest seats in the arena.
Let's maybe not mention the numbers because that's going to freak me out more. But, yeah, we are pretty high up. We can see the entire team. We can see the packed student section of Miami. So they came out in drones to support their team. It's also senior night for the Redhawks, so it feels like the energy in here is just amazing that you only can get from energy like college basketball and a mid-major school that's undefeated, nationally ranked, and has got Oxford out in numbers.
Yeah, capacity for Millett Hall is 9,200 fans is what they list it for basketball and volleyball games. But like you were mentioning, against Ohio in the Battle of the Bricks, they had 10,640 fans pack in here. That tied the program record for attendance. We'll see how close they get to that number tonight. But one more thing I want to talk about before we send it back to them in the studio is this Miami offense is just a beast. They have scored 80 or less points in only 5 of their 26 wins. And that's all of their games because, of course, they have not lost one yet. So that means 21 of their 26 games, they have scored 81 or more. Bowling Green, when allowing 80 or more points, just 1-7 this season.
Yeah, and putting it as they have a good offense almost seems like an understatement of the century for this Miami Redhawks team. They have maybe one of the most explosive offenses, not only in the MAC, but in the entirety of the NCAA this season. They have.
You could argue in the MAC's history.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely could. They have been just a workhorse game in and game out, and that starts with Peter Suter. You know, his 14.8 points per game after Evan Ipsero goes down with a torn ACL in that early game over at Ball State where they won. And, you know, the questions were asked, well, you know, Ipsero going down, what's this team going to look like? They're going to look pretty good,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Not a step missed. They have gone from a just top-tier MAC team to one of the elite MAC teams with Kent State and Akron.
Yeah, and it is a senior night at Millett Hall. So because of senior night and because of national TV, this pregame is going to be a little longer than usual. We have about 19 minutes left to go before they introduce the starting lineup. So we're going to send it back in the meantime, back to the Kulin Center to continue this Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show.
All right, thank you guys. So we're going to take another quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to take a deeper dive into this rematch and what Bowling Green needs to do differently this time around after falling in their first matchup by 10, and also looking at who the key players we are going to be looking at tonight to really step up in this game tonight. So keep it right here. You're listening to the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces more feature stories about BGSU athletics than any other media outlet. Make sure to head over to bgfalconmedia.com and follow Falcon Media Sports Network at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with all of our content.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
All right, back here in the Colleen Center studios here in Bowling Green, Ohio for the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show. We just heard from our three-man crew out in Oxford, Tyler Kavlitz, Artie Abrego, and Foster Rosta. Still got a little bit of time left before the game tips off, so we're sticking right here, getting right back into it. I'm here with Adam Duffin, Trey Kennedy, Jacob Kopaz, our analysts for tonight's show. Now, when we look back at their last matchup, December 30th, 2025, I was there for that game. You know, this was a team, Miami, just coming off their non-conference schedule. They were about like 10-0, I think, and you know, I myself and a lot of other people, you know, we thought that Miami wasn't really a legit team. We thought, you know, their conference schedule, they didn't really play anyone, you know, and that's what a lot of people are still saying online. You know, this Miami team is not legit enough, but they quickly shut us all up in that first half. They built a 26-point halftime lead on Bowling Green's home floor. They simply embarrassed them in that first game on their home floor. And now the scene shifts to Oxford, like Tyler Kavlitz and them were just talking about. This environment, a nationally ranked environment now. There's so much to be excited about down there in Oxford. So how much does that change in venue matter in a rematch like this?
The change in venue matters a lot. When you're the home team and you're 26-0, it helps out tremendously. It's especially in college basketball, the turnout is entirely dependent on how the team's doing. I mean, unless it's one of the top blue blood programs such as a Duke, even then they would lose attendance. So yeah, just being at home, it's going to draw a lot of people. I actually know someone that goes to Miami, Ohio, and he showed me a photo. It was packed about an hour ago before the game started. So yeah, it definitely is a big thing. And, you know, teams are taking it serious. The last game that Miami played, they were on the road against UMass. UMass handed out to some of the student section papers that were about personal information about Miami players to mess with them. They were handing out like the parents' names to help scold the players from the student section. So it definitely is important.
I don't think it worked, though, against Miami, did it? I mean, let's be honest. But if we're looking at the last game that these two teams played against each other, Bowling Green shot at fairly well, 49% compared to Miami's 55%. But what was going really wrong was 23% from three. And I had mentioned it earlier. They really struggled, Bowling Green did, against Kent State, shooting the three ball, well below 30%. And against Toledo the game before, they were 52% from distance. So it's going to be a struggle. The environment, the undefeated team that they're facing in Miami. I mean, Bowling Green's got to find a way to play well and use your strengths to the best of their ability. And then one thing for me, we'll get to it later. However, Bowling Green can't turn the ball over and give extra possessions to this Miami team because, again, they're already so prolific as it is. We can't do that to this team and to the Red Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to what you just said about turnovers, I mean, Miami themselves, they're only averaging 10.7 turnovers a game. So if you're giving them the ball, you're pretty much expecting them to keep it. And with being such a high-scoring offense, you can't afford to do that this game. And just one last thing about the crowd. I think it's just really neat what they're doing down there. I mean, I got to give props to them. They built a giant fan base this season. I mean, like Adam, I have buddies that are down in Miami, and it's just cool to see this program blossom almost. I mean, they didn't have too much of a fan base before this season, and after this run, it's really just blowing up and lighting up the campus.
I mean, yeah, and you look at it, they are dominating in both men's and women's basketball. Both of them are standing, atop of the MAC standings. So it's just really great to see, both basketball teams being must-see on that campus. And so now looking at it from Bowling Green's perspective, how much of a statement opportunity is this tonight? Not just for the standings, but for nationally. I mean, how big of a win would this be? Because earlier in the season, they did have a big win against Kansas State, their first win against a Power 4 team in a very long time. But you look at Kansas State now, they are not really that good. They fired their coach. Their coach was just seen going on this massive rampage about how terrible his players are, and they got him out of there. So just how big would this be if Bowling Green is able to do what hasn't been done before in this season?
Yeah, like you said, the win against Kansas State, it doesn't matter as much. That team was free falling. They have students there with paper bags on their heads. So, yeah, definitely a chance for a signature win for Todd Simon. It's something that he's kind of been needing here at Bowling Green. I alluded to earlier about how they've struggled against top teams in the MAC. Now you face, the biggest story in the country right now in Miami, and it's something that it boosts you heading down the stretch with how the standings are so close. They're sixth. Their ceiling is probably the fourth seed, but that changes things, and it leads to a point where you could have a chance to face Toledo in the tournament. So a signature win and a chance to go up in the standings, it's definitely a big one.
I like the talk of that. Another game in the Battle of I-75 potentially. I mean, that's pretty good in itself. However, getting back to the Red Hawks, I mean, like he said, it's a talk nationally is whether or not this team is legit or not. I think as MAC teams, we know how this team is, having Kent State, having Akron also in the conference, being the powerhouses that they are. I think the respect is great for this Miami Red Hawks team. And so it just gives Bowling Green that much more going for them too, heading into the last month or so of the season, and then obviously into Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Bowling Green, I mean, going in, they're going to have a lot of respect for Miami, but it would just, it'd be one of the biggest wins in BGSU history, I believe, if you beat a number 22 ranked opponent, especially that one that's undefeated going into this game. I mean, you have all the talk nationally. I see almost daily posts from ESPN that they won another game. So how big would that be for BGSU if they can go down to Miami being away in Miami's home court and then get a win? That'd be giant for the program.
Yeah, and you talk about Todd Simon's struggles against the top teams. I mean, this would be such a much needed win for him in this coaching career at Bowling Green. You can beat Toledo all you want, but we know that's pretty much going to be a back and forth every year. That how those games go. But when you're going up against Miami, Akron, and Kent State, and when you pretty much can already know that you're probably going to lose that game, that's not good as a coach. So on the court tonight, what do you need to see from Bowling Green to be the first team to hand Miami a loss this season?
Well, they got to stop the fast scoring. You mentioned Trey and I are women's basketball beats. When we were in the hotel last week before our game, we got a chance to watch Miami take on Ohio, and it was just incredible to see how fast they play. I believe they had 15 points within about 4 minutes, and it continued on the rest of the half almost at that pace. They play very fast, and I think one thing that they got to do is limit Luke Skaljak. He has been absolutely incredible. His best game this season at the time was the first matchup against Bowling Green, where he had 15 points. And since then, he's gone on an absolute tear, where every game since except one, he has had double-digit points, multiple times scoring 18, another time scoring 19, one time having 10 assists. As of late, he's had 7 assists, 8 assists, and 7 assists. He has had an incredible season. And the Skaljak family's got to be pretty happy because he has a younger brother that's currently a senior in high school who's also 19-1 with his team. So the Skaljak brothers, a dangerous duo, and I wouldn't be shocked if his brother's there next year to have to deal with as well.
That family knows about winning.
For me, I'm looking at Peter Sutter. Obviously, I mentioned a couple times, 14.8 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, but I'm looking at 1.4 steals a game. I mean, talk about a player that likes to get after the basketball defensively. Bowling Green's guards in particular, I'm looking at Javante Campbell, ball security, right? And that's something that, again, as women's basketball beats, that's something that we emphasize quite a bit. We have to see this Bowling Green team have as much ball security as they ever have because they can't afford to give extra possessions to a team, again, that's as prolific offensively as the Red Hawks.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I mean, for me, I think a big player for the Falcons will be Josiah Shackelford. I mean, he leads the team with 76 defensive rebounds, so I think he'd be a big force if he can stay in the paint, get some rebounds for the Falcons, and limit the second chance points for the Red Hawks. That'll be really big to make sure it doesn't get too out of hand quickly. As we know, this team is very good at scoring in bunches.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Shackelford this season, especially when you look at his rebounding numbers. I mean, he's had a lot of games where he's like leading the team or close to leading the teams in rebounds as a guard. Being able to just drive in and come away with those boards is huge, especially when you look at how important rebounding is, winning the rebounding battle. And that's how a lot of these games, that's how a lot of them swing, if you're not getting the rebounds, if you're letting them get second chance opportunities, that's how games run away quickly from you. So great discussion there, guys. We're going to take another quick break here, and when we come back, we will give our Falcon 4 keys of the game, and then we'll take a look at Around the MAC. Not too much going on tonight, but Trey will let us know what's going on there. So keep it right here. You're listening to the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here for the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show for tonight's matchup. Bowling Green taking on the number 22 team in the country, Miami Red Hawks. Having a little bit of some difficulties out there in Oxford. Not a whole lot of reception there. So up there in the clouds in Oxford. So we will hopefully figure that out and get you out there for the lineups and all that. But now switching it here, I want to give our Falcon 4 keys to the game. We kind of, talked about them a little bit, but what are your main keys that you want to look for both teams to come out on top in this game?
Yeah, I think it's for both sides. It's always the turnover battle. Jacob alluded to it earlier. Miami only turns it over about 10 times a game, and that's a spot where Javonte Campbell and other guards in transition, in that fast pace of play, they got to get in passing lanes or try to make a play on the ball handler. They got to play aggressive, but at the same time they got to play smart too. It's a tough balance, but that's how you steal away games from very good offensive teams is by winning the turnover battle.
My Falcon 4 right here is, Bowling Green's got to find a way to be creative defensively. I don't think man-on-man is going to really work. They got to find a way to be creative on those double teams, those zone plays, to kind of confuse Miami offensively. I know they haven't been confused quite often this year, but if they can manage to do that and be a little creative in that way, kind of give them different looks defensively, and then obviously having good hands defensively, trying to get those steals, I think can go a long way offensively and defensively for this Falcons team.
Yeah, my key for the game also relates to defense, shockingly. But it's also why I mentioned Josiah Shackelford earlier, is that you need to grab rebounds in this game. Miami is actually one of the worst. I mean, they're last in offensive rebounds in the entire MAC. So whether that's from them making a lot of shots or just not getting in there and getting the boards, it's still going to be a big factor in the game if you can limit those second chance points.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and give a key for me. You gotta start out hot. And you got to limit Miami from starting out hot, as we saw in their last matchup. Only 28 points they scored and allowed 54 to Miami. You gotta come out hot. You gotta make your shots, and you gotta be able to keep yourself in this game and not have to dig such a massive hole that you're not going to be able to climb out of. So that'll be my key for that. And now, Trey, let's take a look around the MAC for tonight.
Yeah, right now we only have one other MAC game going on. It's the Akron Zips and the Ball State Cardinals, and currently Akron is up 78-65 here, and that is the final that we have here. But also, nationally, VCU in St. Louis being the number 18 school in the country, is down 55-49. Number 7 Purdue is leading Indiana 23-14 in the middle of the first half. And Bowling Green taking on Miami, of course, later in a couple minutes for this game as well.
And yeah, obviously you got some great action tomorrow with 1v3 and 2v4 going up against each other. Michigan taking on Duke and Arizona taking on Houston. So going to be lots of great college basketball being played tonight. So one last thought here before we send it back out there to Oxford. Just your final thoughts and your predictions as we head into tip-off.
I think Bowling Green, they're going to have to do it where they get off to a hot start, like you said, where they were down over 25 points in a half. That's almost impossible to mount a comeback. And that was at home. Doing that on the road, you're essentially doomed to lose. So they got to have a first half where the margin is at least within the 5 to 7 point range to make it realistic.
I think what you said is really crucial. Start out fast. That's awesome. You know what happens when you do that? The fans get out of the game, and they get a little more towards the edge of their seats. You want this team, this fan base, to kind of be more quiet, to kind of embrace yourself more in this ball game. After tip-off, it's going to be electric. We've seen that all year with this Miami team. If we can get that, if Bowling Green can get them kind of going and kind of rattled with both the fans and the players, I think it can go a long way for Bowling Green gaining momentum and getting a win hopefully today.
Yeah, and my prediction for this game is I think we're going to see a big game out of Javonte Campbell. This is going to be the biggest game of the season. This is where you would like to see him step up and prove that he's one of the better players in the nation. And branching off of that, he's sitting at 980 points currently in a BGSU uniform. So I'm hoping he gets maybe 20 more, maybe 25. That way he can eclipse 1,000 points in the orange and brown.
All right, yeah, certainly going to be a fun one here tonight. We're going to take a quick break, and that's going to do it for us for this Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and we have Tip Up next, coming up here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
The Bowling Green Gymnastics program took their first victory in Mid-American Conference play since 2022 with their 194.350 to 193.425 win over Northern Illinois at the Stroh Center Sunday afternoon. Heading into the final event of the competition, the Falcons trailed the Huskies by 1/10 of a point. The Orange and Brown compiled their scores up to give them their high
Bowling Green men's basketball will look for the biggest upset of the Mid-American Conference season as they walk into Millett Hall against the only remaining undefeated team in the country. Hello everyone, Tyler Kavelitz alongside Foster Alstai and Artie Abrego from the Falcon Media Sports Network. We are here in a packed Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio, and the starting lineups have just been introduced. But before we get to those, just your impressions, guys, on this stage that is currently set for this game.
I mean, you can hear the crowd whenever a Falcon starter is introduced right now. They are out in drones. They're booing. The fans here are booing the Falcons whenever they're introduced. It is just an insane environment. It feels like a big game. You can see Sam Towns pregame to all of his teammates, every single one of them. He was in a circle. He was yelling, trying to get them hyped up. He was yelling at every one of his teammates inside that circle, trying to get them ready for this game. It feels like a big game environment right now in here.
You're absolutely right. And you talk about just environments. We've went and broadcast in some elite environments this season, preseason, in Breslin Arena in East Lansing against Michigan State, Dayton's Arena down with the Flyers. None of them right now in the preseason, obviously we have to think of that, hold a candle to what we're looking at right now in Millett Hall. This place is capacity crowd right now. Their pregame show is going on. They're getting ready to announce their starters. All the lights are off.
The Fireflies are out.
And it is just one of the more electric arenas in the MAC and in NCAA to date this year.
So starting lineups are in for both teams. We'll take you through Miami's first. In the backcourt for Miami, it will be led by Peter Suter, who will be a candidate for MAC Player of the Year at year's end. 6'5", 215 senior guard from Carmel, Indiana. He's joined alongside by Luke Skaljak, 6'2", 190 sophomore guard from Brecksville, Ohio. And then getting his first start of the season, only his second appearance of the year, is Eli Yofan, 6'2", 205 senior guard from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The front court will be led by Ian Elmer, a 6'8", 215 junior wing from Covington, Kentucky. And then Antoine Woolfolk, 6'9", 245 senior forward from Cleveland, Ohio. Notably, there is, you have the reigning MAC Freshman of the Year not in that starting lineup, but that is purely due to Brant Byers not in the starting lineup, but that's purely due to senior night. So we would expect Yofan to probably not be in the game for too long before Brant Byers replaces him in there. For Bowling Green, it's going to be a lineup that's very familiar to a lot of fans. It'll be led by Javante Campbell, 6'2", 185 senior guard from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Notable on Campbell, 2 steals away from tying the program's single-season record of 90 that he set last year, 3 to break. Those are the numbers we're looking for today from him. He'll be joined by Josiah Shackelford, 6'4", 212 sophomore guard from Sanford, Florida, and Justin Thomas, a 6'7", 184 senior guard from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. In the front court, it will be Sam Towns, 6'9", 200-pound senior forward from Columbus, Ohio, and Troy Glover II, 6'10", 225 senior forward from Wheaton, Illinois. Bowling Green going to be in their all-oranges. This season, the Falcons in those all-oranges, 6-4, 14-16 in the Todd Simon era. And Miami will be in their all-blacks with white numbering and lettering. And this place, guys, is electric, to say the least.
Electric might be an understatement. It feels like there's an electric current in here right now, just ramping up throughout the arena. My goodness. I cannot. I agree with Foster. I've not been in an environment this good in an arena in my broadcasting career. It is loud. It is rowdy. It is the only atmosphere I can describe as just pure Maction energy, especially when you're nationally ranked.
Absolutely, Maction. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Maction, but right now it is loud, and we're going to just take a second to see if you guys can hear this.
So, at the center of the court, it will be Woolfolk and Glover to tip it off. Bowling Green going right to left across your radio dials. Miami University left to right. Tip-off is up, and it's won by the Redhawks. Peter Suter will start with the ball in his hands, averaging 14.8 points per game in this season. It's set to Woolfolk, top of the key. Woolfolk feeds it down low. Moving down low, it's Suter, fadeaway Jay, got it to go over Josiah Shackelford. 2-0 Miami early.
And he's going to go to that all night long, that back down fadeaway, something he really likes to go to.
Javante Campbell drives inside, gets cut off by Yofan, terrific defense. Tossed to Sam Towns, he bobbled it, lost it out of bounds in front of Travis Steele in the Miami bench. And this crowd is into it early. That's going to be the biggest challenge early on for Bowling Green.
Yeah, the unofficial sixth man on the court right now is the Redhawks crowd, getting loud after every stop, every point scored so far. And, I mean, we're pretty early on. It's only going to get louder from here on out.
Peter Suter fires a pass down low to Woolfolk. Couldn't finish off the layup, but Javante Campbell an early foul, so it'll be 2 at the line for Antoine Woolfolk. Woolfolk, who had offers for football offers from Boston College, Cincinnati, Akron, and Marshall out of high school. Started his career at Rutgers. He is just an all-around athlete down low for the Redhawks.
I mean, you can see it. He's 6'9". He's truly a massive human being. You can see him down in the post. He was just trying to push back against Javante Campbell to get that layup. I mean, you can definitely understand why he got some football offers coming out of high school.
You're absolutely right. And one of the big things is they're taking advantage of mismatch early. Woolfolk down low in the post, got Campbell on him. Go right to him, make him foul to slow you down.
Went 1 of 2 from the line. He's 58.6% from there this season, so it's 3-0 Miami early on, about a minute played here at Millett Hall. Defense chance rained down from the capacity crowd. Justin Thomas with it right wing, resets over to Shackelford. Shackelford pulls a triple, couldn't can it, rebounded by Skaljak. Here come the Redhawks. Skaljak with it, top of the key. Guarded by Troy Glover, takes a deep triple, does not fall. Rebound goes to Glover, he contains it, lost it, but he is fouled. That ball came out past the midcourt line. Glover chased it down before it went out of bounds, double teamed by a pair of Redhawks. It'll be a foul on Luke Skaljak, his first. Bowling Green will inbound across from the Miami bench on the near side, and there's the substitution we were waiting for. Eli Yofan heads to the bench. Grant Byers, the reigning MAC freshman of the year, averaging 14 points on nearly 42% shooting from 3, takes his spot on the floor.
And, yeah, it's a nice moment for the senior. I mean, we talked about it, Tyler. We've been to a couple games, and you mentioned it. You've seen him at these games to be really the hype man at the end of the bench for this team.
Culture guy.
A very big culture guy for this team.
We compared him to Greg Spurgeon pregame.
It's exactly the same. Yeah, just the same type of guy you want at the end of your bench to hype you up, really get you motivated for these big games.
Javante Campbell moving to his left, still outside the three-point arc, sends Woolfolk to the ground with a shoulder. It's now fed into Glover. Glover out to Shackelford. Sam Towns wide open. Thought about a triple, driving inside. Nice jump step to get inside the MAC logo in the paint. Finish it off with a finger roll layup. 3-2. Miami still leads. 18-20 to play in the first half.
And I like that move from Sam Towns. We know he can hit threes, but he isn't always consistent with them. He steps inside and makes the layup instead. That's a smart decision by Towns.
Woolfolk going against Shackelford, too strong on the floater. Rebounded by number 4. Shackelford on the right wing. Sam Towns top of the key. Now Campbell left side. Campbell resets to the midcourt logo. Campbell now moving to his left around a Sam Towns screen. 9 on the shot clock. Now to the right. Kicks it out. Shackelford faked the triple. Faked the mid-range. Back out to Campbell. Campbell 3 on the shot clock. Step side. Triple. He got it to go. What a shot by Javante Campbell. And Bowling Green has the early lead. 5-3. 17.5 to play here in the first half.
And I will say one of the things that you're going to have is Bowling Green is the shot clocks get slow, Javante Campbell will be there for you almost all game.
Ian Elmer fadeaway over Justin Thomas, no good. Bowling Green takes it the other way. Here comes Campbell blazing down the court. Feeds it to Thomas, top of the key. Now back over Campbell, right wing. Like you said, this Bowling Green offense just ball dominant heavy with Javante Campbell.
Yeah, and he's just one of the better players. Late shot clock type of shooters that you know can knock down those types of shots.
Shackelford to Sam Towns, left wing triple. He pulls it, too strong off back iron. Rebounded by Miami.
I am liking the aggressiveness shown by the BG offense so far. We talked a little bit about it off there, but we wanted them to come out with some sort of aggressiveness to start this one. Really leave it all on the court.
Woolfolk spins around, sends Glover to the floor. Easy layup, uncontested. We're all tied at 5. 16.5 to play in the first half.
Looks like Glover was looking for some sort of whistle after that one. He was kind of motioning towards the ref when he was on the court.
Campbell now over to Shackelford. Shackelford makes a drive inside, rejected from behind. Peter Suter sent it to the backboard. And now here comes Suter. Pulls a triple on the other end. Peter Suter doing it all for Miami. Redhawks up 8-5.
This place just exploded after that. Suter gets the block, hits the three. I don't know if there's anyone in the Mid-American Conference not named Javante Campbell who's more valuable to their team right now.
It's a very good point. Those two will be candidates for MAC Player of the Year in just a couple weeks' time. Up in Cleveland, Ohio, that will be announced at the MAC tournament. Troy Glover, the second, drives inside. Physical against Woolfolk. Gets a right-handed layup to go off glass. Bowling Green trailing by just 1. They're keeping it early, or close early, 8-7. Another triple was pulled by Suter. This one does not go. Little heat check very early on for the guard. Campbell feeds it down low to Glover, makes his man fly by, and an easy two-handed jam for Troy Glover the second. Bowling Green back ahead, 9-8, 15-25, and counting to go in this first half.
Well, off the missed shot, Bowling Green gets out, runs. Nobody gets Glover on the backside, and he gets an easy dunk.
Suter kicks out for a triple. Luke Skaljack drains it from the right wing. That's the second triple of the game for Miami. They're the 4th best three-point shooting team in the country, 40.2%. They're 92.3 points per game, the best in the nation.
And you really got to watch out for Skaljack. I mean, he averages about 10 points a game. Last time these two teams played, he scored 15 points at the Stroh Center against this team.
Justin Thomas gets inside and gets a floater to go, heavily contested. Wonderful shot by the veteran. 11-11, game tied, under 15 to play in the first half. Here is a step-back mid-range jumper, absolutely disgusting by Luke Skaljack after the handles. Miami back ahead. These teams trading heavyweight blows. Back and forth to begin this one in Millett Hall.
And they're targeting Troy Glover a lot on these moves. Like, he's been caught, lost a couple times on these moves by the Redhawks.
Sam Towns left alone. His mid-range jumper no good. Ball went out of bounds off of Ian Elmer after Glover bounced it off his foot. So it will stay Bowling Green ball, but that will also take us to our first media timeout of the game. 14-16 left to go in the first half from Millett Hall. It's Miami 13, Bowling Green 11. You're listening to BGSU men's basketball right here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network now has a pregame and postgame show, along with intermission reports for every BGSU hockey broadcast, starting 25 minutes before each game. Make sure to tune in to hear insights and knowledge from Falcon Media Sports Network analysts. You can listen to every broadcast on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for Falcon hockey. Also streaming on bgfalconmedia.com.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Bowling Green men's basketball keeping things close early with the only undefeated team remaining in the country. Miami Redhawks 26-0, 13-0 in conference play. Guys, BG only trailing by 2 early. They've been keeping things very close. And we also have some royalty in the house. Myles Garrett courtside for this one.
What an interesting person to have courtside at a Miami versus Bowling Green game. The Texas Tech, I believe, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yes, Texas A&M graduate and not Bowling Green Falcon, and Cleveland Brown.
Same colors.
Yes, same colors.
Justin Thomas fouled on the low block after it was lobbed inside to him. The Miami crowd expected, does not like it. So Javante Campbell inbound. It's Campbell, Shackelford, Towns, Thomas, and newly checked in Meyer Wall on the floor. Troy Glover II will get a break. Lobbed inside to Justin Thomas. His quick floater, no good. Offensive rebound by Sam Towns. Spinning around, no option. Kicks it out to Thomas. Top of the key wall. Made his man miss on a fake. Drives inside. Right-handed layup. Got it to go. A nice drive by Meyer Wall. His first points of the game.
That's what I want to see of Meyer Wall more often. A lot of the times he's just taking really contested shots lately. He has really long arms. You want to see him drive into the post like that to get those layups.
Missed shot by Miami. Javante Campbell takes it the other way. His floater with contact is no good. Here come the Red Hawks. It's going to be a deep triple pulled by Brant Byers. Does not go, but he was fouled by Josiah Shackelford, and he will head to the line for 3 free throws.
A little bit of a show afterwards on that foul. Very deep three.
Hey, it's Oscar season, man.
It's,
it's
you know
Oscar
what?
season.
That's fair. And he stepped right into Shackelford as Todd Simon's over there talking to the referee right now. And that's that home court advantage. Not only the fans, the refs as well.
Byers hits the first at the line. Brant Byers, just an incredible player. 14.7 points per game, 4 rebounds a contest, 50% from the field, nearly 42% from deep. He has been held to single digits in 2 of his past 3 games as he misses the second attempt. So that's an interesting storyline coming to this one. Bowling Green catching Byers when he's in one of his quarter streaks this season.
Well, if you're Bowling Green, you need almost the entire Miami roster to be in a cold streak. This roster can put up points in a hurry, and Bowling Green's going to need to slow them down a lot if they would like to win this game.
I mean, they know they can score in a hurry. I mean, last time these teams played, they scored 54 points in the first half, so BG's really got to make sure they don't go on a run.
Byers 2 for 3 from the line, 15-13 Miami leads. Sam Towns triple left wing, got it to go. Bowling Green back ahead, 16-15. Just over 13 minutes to play in this first half in Oxford.
And that's something you're going to need a lot of Sam Towns today, knocking down his threes.
Brant Byers driving inside from the right side, gets it to go through Meyer Wall and Sam Towns with the right-handed layup. A physical 2 points for Byers, up to 4 points in the game now. 17-16 Miami back in the lead. Meyer Wall baseline jumper does not fall. Loose ball foul on Josiah Shackelford down low in the paint, and it will be Miami ball.
His second foul of the game. They're going to have a quick sub. Javon Ruffin going to take him out of the game.
And I mean, Shackelford last game against Kent State, he actually fouled out early. He had 5 personal fouls. Granted, everyone was a bit up in the fouls category during that game, but it's one of the things you got to watch out for, especially against Miami. You need all your best players out there, and you got to make sure they're out there for a long time.
With the ball is Peter Suter, lobs it inside. Wide open was Omar Atlason, but the pass was too far. He had to kick it out for a triple that was not hit by Trey Perry. Javante Campbell speeding the other way into the paint. Heavy contact, couldn't get the layup to go the way he wanted, and it's taken the other way by the Red Hawks.
Simon wanted a foul. He had his arms up in frustration after that one.
Byers drives inside, knocked away by Ruffin. Terrific defense against the reigning MAC Freshman of the Year, and he is slow to get to the other side of the court. Sam Towns kicks it to Javon Ruffin. Now inside Justin Thomas. His floater through contact. No good, but the putback goes. And Byers seems to be holding his hand below his face. Maybe a hit in the nose, possibly.
He's got blood coming out of his nose. Yeah, he's got a bloody nose.
He tried to call for a timeout for a good 20 seconds there.
Well,
not really calling a timeout, but motioning to the officials, holding his hand like, hey, look, I am bleeding, stop this game, and they just didn't.
Well, they can't stop it when his team does not have the ball. You cannot take advantage away from Bowling Green, who has the ball, who's moving into offense and running down the court. He's going to walk off the court right now as he's got a towel up to his nose. They're going to take a look at him.
We'll have to see if he goes back to the locker room or not. That could be a huge story. Happened when he was driving against Javon Ruffin. Physical play from both players. So Brant Byers out of the game momentarily. Ian Elmer with the ball on top of the key. Elmer moving to his right. Picks up his dribble against Glover. Now gives it to Peter Suter. Suter making his moves against Glover, and the step-back jumper just inside the three-point line falls. Terrific offense by Peter Suter. Puts Miami back ahead 19-18, 11:30 left to play in the first half. Brant Byers is still on the sideline for Miami.
And the Falcons defense has to be better at recognizing when Javante Campbell is guarding one of the guards. You've got to make that switch quicker. You can't let a mismatch like that happen.
Javon Ruffin, corner triple in front of the Miami bench. Heavy contact. He is fouled. So he will go to the line for 3 free throws when we come back. But it is yet another media timeout. 11:26 left to play in the first half. From Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio, the Red Hawks 19, the Falcons 18, right here on Falcon Radio.
BGSU Gymnastics seeks to continue their momentum as they face Central Michigan at the Stroh Center on Sunday, February 22nd at 2 p.m. Check out the recap of the meet by Falcon Media Sports Network's Holden Ruck on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
BGSU Hockey welcomes Minnesota State into Slater Family Ice Arena for an important series on Friday, February 20th at 7:07 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Nate Henners, Andrew Elkowski, and Carter Leonard will begin the broadcast with a pregame show at 6:45 p.m. before Ben Korak and Kevin Hutchinson call the action on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for Falcon hockey.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
Still a close game here in Oxford, Ohio, with 11:26 left to play in the first half. Miami leading Bowling Green men's basketball 19-18 inside Millett Hall. A rowdy capacity crowd here for today's Friday night matchup. And now being shown on the video board with the crowd exploding to it, as we mentioned before, Myles Garrett, the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year, taking a flight from Milan, Italy, from the Olympics to Oxford, Ohio.
One and the same. Both very beautiful places. Great athletics being played there at this time of the day. So why not?
You know what they say, Ohio, the heart of it all.
Yeah, and why not come back here and watch some MAC basketball after watching some great Olympics?
That might be the only time that naturally comes up in a broadcast. Ohio, the heart of it all.
Absolutely.
That might be the first time ever.
So Javon Ruffin at the line for 3 free throws. He was fouled on a three-pointer in front of the Miami bench by Justin Kirby before we went to break. He hits the first.
If there's one guy you want to send to the line, it would not be Javon Ruffin, averaging 81% from the free throw line this season.
Hits the second by qualified shots. He's the best free throw shooter on the team. Hayden Goins is the only player who can compete with that, but he has notably less free throw attempts than Ruffin. Ruffin goes 3 for 3 from the charity stripe, and Bowling Green a 2-point advantage, 21-19, under 11.5 to play in this first half.
I mean, with Ruffin, he's more of a spot-up shooter, so you wouldn't really expect to see him getting fouled like someone like Javante Campbell. He's not consistently driving to the inside or underneath the basket.
Skaljak with the ball, top of the key. Apologies, Suter with it, driving inside against Campbell. That's the matchup we're going to want to watch. Kicked out to Skaljak, right wing. Campbell switches onto him. Skaljak pulls a triple after Campbell separated, and Skaljak drained it. Miami back ahead, 22-21. These two teams trading the lead back and forth.
And just what a move. Just a jab step to get some open space and taking advantage of it. This Miami team knows how to knock down the three, and if you're Bowling Green, you cannot allow them to get any open shots.
Ruffin in the paint, out to Thomas, left wing, now to Towns, left corner. Towns puts a move on, knocked away, taken by Miami. Here comes Luke Skaljak. It was knocked away by Ian Elmer. He lobs it up to the hoop, and that is put in as a layup goes for Justin Kirby. Miami's lead up to 3, 24-21. Justin Thomas out to Javon Ruffin. He'll pull a deep triple off front iron. Doesn't get a friendly bounce. Ian Elmer with the rebounds. Here come the Red Hawks. Almar Atlason going to take a deep three-pointer, but that will be waved off. An off-ball offensive foul against the Red Hawks negates the 3 points. It will be against Peter Suter.
And he was moving on that screen, and Troy Glover, who we've seen it do time and time again this season, just so adept at drawing charges for a big man.
Yeah, he'll take that ball for his team. We saw it against Kent State. We saw it against Toledo. He's definitely one of those players who doesn't mind hitting that court if he gets his team the ball back.
Sam Towns over to the right side to Thomas. Now back up to Javante Campbell. Campbell looking for an option, surveying outside the three-point arc. Kicks it out Ruffin, near side corner. Ruffin driving to the free throw line now out Sam Towns. Sam Towns triple teamed in the paint, out to Justin Thomas. 5 on the shot clock. Thomas going to pull a triple, too strong, hit backboard, did not connect with the rim. Peter Suter with the ball in his hands.
Just too much dribbling there for the Falcons, not enough movement off ball.
Woolfolk driving inside against Troy Glover the second. Glover going to be called for a blocking foul as he was trying to keep up with the lateral movement from Woolfolk driving along the baseline.
That'll be his first foul of the game, and it's going to be very interesting to see Glover down low, as he's been doing a lot of switching this game and seeing where they're going to put him the rest of the game as he continues to switch.
I mean, this is such an outside shooting team for Miami of Ohio. They don't really drive towards the basket very often, if all, when there's contact. So it's going to be interesting to see what Glover's role in this game is going to be with that in mind.
Luke Skaljak inbounds to Antoine Woolfolk, now guarded by Javon Ruffin, a bit of a mismatch. Spins to his right, spins to his left, back to his right, in the paint. Physical 2 points for Woolfolk.
And again, BG has to be more aware of those mismatches. It's happened all night long so far. They're attacking the mismatches consistently when the Red Hawks have the ball.
5-point lead for Miami, their biggest of the game, 26-21. Just over 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Javante Campbell, bounce pass down low to Troy Glover the second. Glover hook shot with the right hand, does not go. Taken away by Ruffin after Woolfolk got the rebound. An effort play by Javon Ruffin, the senior. And there is a whistle. We're going to see what this is. Again, we are up here on the scaffolding. We're up on the catwalk, so there is no shot. We're going to be hearing anything the officials say.
I think the officials would send somebody up here, just tell us what's happening, and then run back down.
Maybe a messenger pigeon?
Yeah.
I would like a
send
messenger
one
pigeon.
Up here?
Yeah. Just give us a call.
Maybe
There are phones up here, I should mention. There
we do
are
have
phones.
a phone up here, yeah.
There are phones.
Get a call to the bullpen, maybe?
Yeah, give a bullpen call up to us.
So no clue that was about. Maybe the clock. I think it was at 17.
Situation.
They reset it to 27. So bit of a clock issue. Kind of killed the momentum for Bowling Green on the play as they now have the reset. Javante Campbell moving to his right inside the three-point line, guarded by Skaljak. Kicks it out, now back to Campbell, knocked away by Skaljak. It'll stay Bowling Green ball as it went out of bounds off the Red Hawk.
And just so much standing around for the Falcons offense. Not any off-ball movement that's not a player coming up to set a screen.
And it's interesting, the three-point heavy approach by Bowling Green. Miami's the best three-point defense in the MAC, holding opponents to 32.1% shooting beyond the arc. It's top 100 in the country as well. And Javante Campbell just traveled with the ball. Just took a few too many steps after the inbounds. Just a mistake by Campbell that you don't see made very often.
I mean, you see him trying to set up a screen, I believe. He's trying to call over his player to set up something, but he takes too many steps when he's moving. And, you know, Campbell, for as good as he is, you've seen that a couple times this season. When he gets locked in on something, he kind of loses focus at times.
Luke Skaljak to Woolfolk, threw it too far, so Woolfolk would have had a wide open shot. Reset to Skaljak, bounce pass into Suter, terrific play. Nice defensive recovery, I should say, by Glover, who forced a miss as he got his big paw into the frame to readjust the shot by Suter. Bowling Green ball the other way. 8 minutes to play in Millett Hall. 26-21, Miami leads by 5, their largest lead of the game. Meyerwald triple from the right wing, no good, rebounded by Woolfolk. For Woolfolk, his second rebound of the game. Early on, Bowling Green leading that category 11-10. Triple by Skaljak, not online, too strong off back iron. Bowling Green takes it. Javon Ruffin with it, out to Sam Towns, left wing. Towns trying to get past Wolfoot, couldn't do so. Now to Ruffin, reset to Campbell at the midcourt logo. 7.5 to play in the first half, 26-21 Miami leads. Javonte Campbell surveying, moving to his right, thought about a three-pointer, gives it back to Ruffin, top of the key, 5 seconds of the shot clock. Ruffin driving inside, contested layup, does not fall, tried to scoop it with the left hand as he was going past the rim, out of bounds.
And this Falcons offense has just hit a rut right now. They're not able to find any good momentum, any good offensive shots that they're looking for.
Peter Suter drives against Troy Glover the second, takes the contact, gets the layup to go, I should say, as he was falling towards the student section, and he will go to the free throw line for a chance at a three-point play. And Miami really swinging all the momentum their way. They are on a 9-0 run over the past 4 minutes, 21 seconds. 7:04 left to play as we hit the media timeout. Miami leads 28-21, and before we send it back, this is very reminiscent of the scoring drought that Bowling Green went on at the end of the first half in their last game against Kent State. That was a 12-0 run in 6 minutes, 13 seconds. This is a 9-0 run in 4 minutes, 21 seconds.
Yeah, BG had all the momentum after one of those timeouts. They had the steals, they had the shooting, they were up against Kent, and then they just went cold. They went quiet, and then there was all Kent State from there on out. And we saw this when the Redhawks go on a run, they don't stop. Again, I mentioned 54 points in the first half the last time these two teams played. They score together points in bunches. That's how fast, that's how quick this Redhawks team is.
And I've said it a couple times off the air and on the air. One of the biggest problems that this Bowling Green offense has is a lack of off-ball movement. They're going to get into a quick three-man weave at the top of the key, and after that, it's a lot of standing around and looking at what Campbell is going to do driving the paint, what Sam Towns is going to do if he's driving the paint. There's a lot of standing and watching of the ball, which does not allow the Falcons to get defenders, those Miami Redhawk defenders, out of position and finding an open shot. But if they can get some more movement off ball, you can start moving those players out of the paint and getting wide open shots and driving kick shots as well.
We'll send it back to the studio for a quick break. Again, 7:04 to play in the first half here in Oxford. Miami 28, Bowling Green 21. The Redhawks with their largest lead of the game. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. Miami leading Bowling Green 28-21. 7:04 to play in this first half. The three-point play is converted at the line by Peter Suter. Now an 8-point advantage to the Redhawks, their largest of the game. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Allstein and Artie Abrego from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Javonte Campbell kicks out to Javon Ruffin. Now Meyer Wool, right side. Now to Ruffin, near side wing. To Thomas, back to Ruffin. Ruffin thought about a triple. 5 on the shot clock, out to Campbell. Campbell thought about a three-pointer. Drives inside, 2 on the shot clock. Gets a left-handed layup to go. You talked about it early in the game. Javonte Campbell so good late in the shot clock.
Yeah, good late shot clock, but like we said before going to that break, a lot of standing around for that Bowling Green Falcons offense.
29-23, a 6-point advantage for Miami. Javonte Campbell almost intercepts a pass, goes out of bounds off of Campbell's foot. The pass was intended for Luke Skaljak, who really is the second option in terms of ball handling for this Miami offense after Peter Suter.
Yeah, he's averaging about 4.8 points per game. He started about 14 of those games out of 25. He's really a good second option at that guard spot. He moves the ball just as well as Suter does, but he doesn't get all the credit that is obviously the starting guard does.
6th in the MAC in assists per game. He's the main facilitator. Suter's the main scorer. Skaljak with it. Going against Campbell, spins against Campbell. Campbell got a hand on the ball. Inside the paint, contested layup. That battle goes to Skaljak. Gets the 2 points over Javonte. 31-23, 8-point lead for Miami. Under 6 minutes to play in the first half. Justin Thomas working inside. Got a acrobatic floater to go against Peter Suter, but there was a whistle on Suter before the shot, and I believe that is Suter's second now. Yeah, personal foul, so that is something to watch. Whether Suter will stay on the court, he will not. He's going to be pulled off by Travis Steele, and that is huge for Bowling Green. Possibly a little opening for them to get a little closer in this game in a hurry.
Well, they need any opening that they can get. And one of the things that Coach Steele is going to be talking to that ref about is Justin Thomas hooking with that off arm which it's hard to see from courtside, but up here you can see it.
Justin Thomas spinning around Brant Byers, but he took a step too many. A travel by Thomas turns the ball over. Bowling Green going to have to limit these turnovers against the Miami team that is just so good at capitalizing.
Yeah, you can't give them any second chance opportunities, and if you're going to do a full court press, you cannot allow that to happen.
Luke Skaljak blazes down the court, right past Sam Towns. Towns' recovery was a bit too late. He hit Skaljak on the arm as he got the 2 points to go with the layup, and Luke Skaljak now to the line for a chance to convert the three-point play the old-fashioned way. The Red Hawks lead Bowling Green 33-23, their first double-digit advantage of the game, and this one's starting to get out of hand quickly for the Falcons. Now an 11-point deficit after the free throw converted. Miami also in the bonus going forward.
On a 14-3 run right now, and that's a smart move by Skaljak. He just takes a pause when he realizes Towns is just jumping right over him and draws the foul in the and one.
Javon Ruffin out to Javonte Campbell, now to Sam Towns. All 5 Falcons beyond the perimeter currently. Sam Towns to his right, now to his left baseline. Knocked off pass by Antoine Woolfolk. Out to Campbell, left wing. 1 on the shot clock, puts the shot up, does not go. The Miami bench explodes. It'll be Luke Skaljak bringing the ball up the floor. Skaljak guarded by Thomas. Bounce pass down low to Woolfolk. Woolfolk against Towns, gets to his left. The layup is no good. Scramble for the rebound, comes up in the hands of Javon Ruffin. Under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Miami 34, Bowling Green 23. Ruffin double teamed as he went down low, kicks it out. A three-pointer pulled and missed by Justin Thomas. Miami will bring it the other way in the hands of Brant Byers. Byers almost had it stripped by Campbell. Resets to Skaljak, top of the key. Skaljak guarded by Javonte, now switched on to by Sam Towns. Launches a deep triple and connects. A 14-point advantage by Miami. Forces a timeout by Todd Simon. And that is an 8-0 run over the past 2 minutes, 7 seconds. An 18-4 run over the past 6 minutes, 58 seconds. Miami is accelerating fast and in danger for Bowling Green of putting this one out of reach in the first half, like it happened in the first contest between these two teams.
You're getting eerily similar vibes right now. They start close. The Red Hawks start to go on a big run. It just starts to get out of hand for Bowling Green, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Their shooting numbers are insane. They're shooting 60% from the field, as opposed to BG only shooting 36% from the field. Just a tale of two squads right now in terms of momentum and shooting.
Well, and I said it a couple times. I'm going to continue to say it until I see differently. Bowling Green, a lot of standing around out there on offense, a lot of looking to each other, try to figure out, who's going to make a play. Nobody moving off ball, nobody cutting to the basket. Everybody's around the three-point arc. There's nobody going to get it's just one-on-one basketball right now.
And you saw it on that Campbell shot clock violation. He was driving towards the rim. Everyone's just watching Campbell. Nobody's moving. Nobody's trying to set anything up to possibly get a pass. They're all just still standing in the same positions they were when he started that movement.
And it's a bold strategy to put all 5 guys out beyond the three-point line against the number 1 three-point defense in the conference. So we will see if Bowling Green's able to make any adjustments. They're going to need to do so in a hurry if they want to keep in contention in this game. Currently down 14, 37-23 with 4:27 left to go in the first half. You're listening to BGSU men's basketball from Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio, right here on Falcon Radio. The number 22 ranked Miami on an 18-4 run over the past 7 minutes against Bowling Green, the only remaining undefeated team in the country, in full control over the Falcons, 37-23 here at Millett Hall with 4:27 left to play in the first half. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Rosti and Artie Abrega from the Falcon Media Sports Network up on the catwalk of the arena. Here calling this one with you.
Stop reminding me of the height, please. It's still freaking me out a little bit.
Some may call this the Red Hawks nest up high.
All right,
in
buddy.
the tree.
All right.
The Hawks nest.
The Hawks
been
nest.
A little,
you know what? I was going to say the Falcons nest, but it doesn't make sense since we're not.
Well, I mean, I'm freaked out, but one team that should be freaked out right now are the Bowling Green Falcons, who are on a disastrously slope right now as Miami's on a red-hot run.
Stick to sports broadcasting. Stand-up comedy might not be in your future, Foster.
Well.
Javante Campbell with the ball, driving inside of the left side, kicks out to Shackelford. He makes a move inside, and there's the offensive movement you wanted, Foster, as Shackelford draws a foul. He'll go to the line for 2 free throws.
And one of the big things with that offensive move is getting the ball down low into the paint before it gets outside and around the key.
And it's so interesting. Sorry to cut you off there, but just when Bowling Green goes in those spurts where they get boat raced at times and there's just no movement, they come out of the break and the movement's there. As to what's causing that lack of movement at times,
I don't know what it could be, because obviously we don't get to see these practices as much as we'd like to. But you can only assume that this team wants to throw that knockout punch early in the game and hit one of those big momentum threes, but they kind of go away from what they really can be as a good paint-dominant team, and they just kind of flow away from it. And they, you take those timeouts and they remember, hey, wait a minute, we can get down to the paint and take almost any team out.
Shackelford 1 for 2 from the line. Miami leads by 13, 37-24. 4 minutes to play in the first half. Skaljak with the ball. Left wing, still no Peter Suter, out of the game currently with 2 fouls. Here comes Grant Byers inside. Floater goes! And a foul against Aiden Goins. Another chance at a 3-point play for Miami. First it was Peter Suter, then it was Luke Skaljak. Now it's Grant Byers' turn.
I mean, that's a disadvantage of, Aiden Goins. He's a big guy, but, when you run into him, he doesn't move, really, when you make that contact. So it's going to draw a foul, and it's going to send Skaljak to the line.
And that probably not a foul if he's in the restricted zone, but he was far out there. That's an easy one for the officials. And the free throw is good. 3-point play, old-fashioned way converted. 40-24, a 16-point lead for Miami. 3:45 to play in the first half. Javante Campbell driving to his left, inside right-handed layup. Acrobatic reverse by Campbell. And Javante Campbell now up to 7 points here today, the Bowling Green's leading scorer. On the other end, Grant Byers hook shot with the right hand near the baseline, couldn't fall. So Bowling Green takes it the other way. Campbell to Shackelford in the near side corner. Now Shackelford backing out his defender. Spins in. Layup no good. Rebounded by Grant Byers. Terrific defense by Justin Kirby. Skaljak with it to Kirby, near side corner. Picked up by Javante Campbell as he picks up his dribble. Bounce pass to a cutting Grant Byers. Runs straight into Aiden Goins. Goes to the floor. It'll be a second foul on Aiden Goins. 2 very quick fouls against the big man right after he checked into the game. And here come the reinforcements for Miami. Peter Suter, Trey Perry going to check into the game for Luke Skaljak. And Peter Suter actually not going to come into the game. They're going to send just Trey Perry into the game. So interesting sequence there. Suter will stay on the bench.
We're having a little bit of a conversation with head coach Travis Steele.
Byers hits the first from the line. Already 2 Red Hawks in double digits. Luke Skaljak has 16. 6 for 8 from the field, 3 for 5 from deep. Peter Suter with 10. At the line, Byers has 7, and now Suter checks in.
So a bit interesting there. A little bit of, miscommunication, or they just wanted to wait for Suter for that second free throw to bring on Suter. Just a little bit of interesting communication and subbing going on there.
Byers up to 8 points, goes 2 for 2 from the line. 42-26, Miami leads. At halftime of their first game this season, Miami led 54-28 at halftime. Javante Campbell, top of the key. Sam Towns, right wing, feeds down low to Goins. There's going to be a foul on Almar Atlason, his first of the game. 2:55 still left to play in this first half.
Atlason, a Bradley Brave last season, committing to Bowling Green after hitting Miami, after hitting the transfer portal, has just been such a great add for this team. Such a great off-the-bench piece for this Miami Redhawks offense.
Was an all-Missouri Valley Conference freshman team selection back in 2023-24. Goins hits the first of the 1-on-1 from the line.
And as that freshman, he led the Braves in three-point percentage at 41%. He's just such a great player. And now it's doing that exact same thing here in the MAC.
Just under that mark this season, 39.7. He scored double digits in 3 straight. Goins continues to stay hot from the line, hits both from the charity stripe. 27 for 31 from there this season. 42-28 the new score. Miami still leading, 2:45 to play in the first half. Peter Suter with the ball to Atlason, now right wing to Trey Perry. Perry back to Atlason, now over to Suter left wing. Suter in the neon green shoes, resets top of the key to Byers. Byers driving inside past a few Falcons, knocked away, taken by Sam Towns. Here comes Javante Campbell, a 3-on-3. Campbell inside, his layup is good. Javante Campbell up to 9 points, and Bowling Green up to 30 as a team. Miami's lead down to 12, 42-30. Give Javante Campbell a steal, one away from tying his own single-season program record as an insanely deep triple launched from the left wing by Ian Elmer and canned. 45-30, just like that, the lead back up to 15.
And Ian Elmer, he can hit that from range. He shoots 43.1% from the three-point line this season. One of the best shooters on this team. Only had 8 points last time against BG. Looks like he's on track for more than that.
Justin Thomas, left wing to Campbell. Javante Campbell will take a three-pointer, too strong off back iron, rebounded by Trey Perry. Perry will hand to Suter, now to Byers. Byers thought about a three-pointer, now to Atlason, into the corner to Elmer. Elmer driving inside, kicks it out. Suter now into the corner. Trey Perry launches a triple, no good, too strong. Justin Thomas will just let it roll out of bounds. Bowling Green will take it the other way with 93 seconds left to play in the first half, trailing by 15, 45-30.
And Bowling Green gets away from one right there. That is some great ball movement by the Red Hawks to really break down this Falcons 1-3-1 zone that they've gone into. And when you're in the zone and you can have ball movement like that, it is going to be a hard time for a zone to track them all. And that's why you saw Elmer hit that deep three, and you saw that's why they got that open shot. They can move that ball a lot, and they're going to get open shots. And if you're Bowling Green, you got to be able to recover on that backside.
Javante Campbell will bring it up the floor, 9 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. 1 away from tying his own single-season program record, now 14 away from tying Bonzi Wells' MAC record set during the 1997-98 season. Sam Towns, top of the key, drives inside, kicks out Javante Campbell, near side wing, lost the ball, taken by Justin Kirby. Here comes Justin Kirby, past Justin Thomas, rejected by Sam Towns. Towns flew out of nowhere to send that one back, and it's now in his hands on the offensive end. Over to Javante Campbell. Campbell inside, rejected by Omar Atlason, and it will be Miami ball. Terrific defense on both sides on back-to-back plays.
And now that that's that fast break opportunity that Bowling Green gets, but that Miami Red Hawk defense got right back into position. Campbell gets the ball down low, tries to go for a pump fake. Nobody bites on it. Multiple Red Hawks collapse in on him. And as he goes up, gets that shot blocked off himself and out of bounds.
With a stoppage on the court, they're going to bring out the mop to mop up a spot on the floor before this next play.
57.8 seconds remain on the clock. Miami 45, Bowling Green 30. The Red Hawks, the only undefeated team remaining in the country, 22 is their ranking in the national standings. The first ranked MAC team since Buffalo during the 2018-19 season. They've already made history with the most wins in a single season in program history at 26. Ian Elmer's deep three-pointer, no good, off iron. Rebounded by Josiah Shackelford. 35 seconds on the clock. Sam Towns kicks out to Shackelford. Shackelford top of the key. Sam Towns, he'll take a triple. Rattles out, rebounded by Peter Suter. Shot clock is off. 25 seconds to play. Miami will hold it for the final shot of the half.
And when you have shooters like Miami does, like Skulljack, Suter, you can really hold this one for as long as you need to and as long as you want, because it feels like they can hit it from anywhere on the court right now.
Peter Suter, 10 points on the game. Game clock under 10 seconds. Down to 6, down to 5. Ball dribbled away. Should be a backcourt violation. It will be.
It is.
2.1 seconds remain on the clock. Just sloppy offense by Miami. Don't see it often. Bowling Green a chance here if they could get something to go to get a little momentum heading into halftime. They've been scoreless for 2 minutes, 25 seconds. Both teams have actually been scoreless for the past 2 minutes.
So they have Towns, Goins, Shackelford, Campbell, and then Thomas on the inbound on the court. So a lot of shooters out there right now for Bowling Green.
Inbounding near side across from the Miami bench, closest to us. It's going to be a lob to Goins, touches his hand. He'll launch a triple from the corner, spins out as he took it in front of the Miami bench. And the Red Hawks head into halftime with all of the momentum on their side. The number 22 team in the country leading Bowling Green at the break, 45-30. We will send it back to the Falcon Radio studio inside the Cooling Center for the Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show. Again, Miami 45, Bowling Green 30 at halftime. You're listening to BGSU men's basketball on Falcon Radio.
Welcome back inside the Colleen Center in the Falcon Radio studio here in Bowling Green, Ohio. This is your Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show. I'm Sam Bork. I'm joined alongside Adam Duffin, Trey Kennedy, and Jacob Kopaz once again. So, one half down in the books. Kind of a little bit of like what we saw in that previous matchup. Adam, why don't you break it down for us? What happened in that first half?
Yeah, the first about 10 of 20 minutes was a back-and-forth affair between the two teams. Bowling Green at one point, I believe, was leading 20-19, and after that point, Miami went on a 26-10 run, leading it to be the 45-30 halftime score. For Bowling Green, Javante Campbell is the leading scorer, 9 points on 4 of 9 shooting, making a three-pointer, and he played the entirety of the first half. And for Miami, I mentioned it in the pregame show, Lucas Skaljak, he has 16 points on 6 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5 from downtown in his 15 minutes. He is most likely going to have his season high, as he had 19 earlier on in the season. He is having an excellent game. And also Brent Byers also has 9 points, lots of those at the charity stripe, going for 5 for 6. But so far in this one, Bowling Green shooting 35%. Meanwhile, Miami shooting 55%. Definitely a shift halfway through the first half where Miami was able to get that cushion.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So we obviously talk about the shooting inconsistencies from this Bowling Green team, and that is once again at play here at the end of the first half. 2 for 10 from three-point range, 11 for 31 from the field. So lots of offensive struggles here so far down in Oxford. So now, what do you want to see more of out of this Bowling Green team? Obviously, like we talked about their last game, they were able to jump into a much better second half performance, going for 55 points. I don't know if we'll be able to see that this time around, especially with this environment like we talked about, like we've heard. I mean, this crowd is extremely loud, and we even got star power over here with Myles Garrett sitting courtside. So what do you need to see from Bowling Green? Because it's not as big of a lead like it was last game, only 15 points. That's pretty easy to come back from, but not with the way the Miami offense is playing. So what do you want to see from Bowling Green?
Well, look, basketball is a game of runs, and Miami went on a run in and of itself. Turnovers haven't been so much an issue. 5 and 5 for both today at this point. So turnovers haven't been an issue. That's something that we talked about. But shooting has been a struggle. When you nearly have 3 players for Miami in double figures, again, Skaljak and then Sutter, you almost have Byers in double figures as well. Bowling Green not having a single one yet. And it's Javante Campbell with 9. So they got to find a way to get back in that scoring rhythm. 35.5%. It's not going to cut it to a team. 55.2%. And once again, the three-point shooting is something that I brought up in the pregame show. And you're shooting 20% from the three-point line compared to Miami's 41.7. That's a 20% shift, and that's not going to cut it. So if they can find success, again, finding that maneuverability, that separation against this defense from Miami is going to go a long way to hopefully getting yourself back in a position to win.
Yeah, I agree with that completely, Trey. And I believe Tyler Kavalets mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but when BG was on offense, I think it was around that 10-minute mark, they really stopped moving. We were seeing a lot of movement, a lot of motion on offense, and then this was around the time Miami went on their 18-4 run and really took control of that game, and that resulted in Todd Simon having to take a timeout. But then after that timeout happened, we saw the Bowling Green offense that we saw for the first 10 minutes of the game. We saw a lot more movement, and they were getting better looks on offense. So, if they really just continue being more creative on offense and keep moving the ball around, keep players moving, I think they'll have a way better chance to get within a closer score to this Miami team.
And I think defensive-wise, you need to really lock down on their guards because a lot of times we saw Troy Glover being switched on to a guard and just getting cooked by their dribble moves. So, I mean, they've been keying in on him as they know that he's pretty much a liability to go up against these guards. So you really need to make sure that you got your best guy on these best players so you can limit those sort of scoring runs once again. So we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll look at potential player of the game watches. I know who Adam's probably going to go with, but we will talk about that after this break. Keep it right here on the Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show on Falcon Radio.
Bowling Green Hockey wraps up their important weekend series against Minnesota State on Saturday, February 21st at 6:07 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Gavin Gill, Artie Abrego, and Jacob Kopaz start the broadcast with a pregame show at 5:45 p.m. before Ben Korak and Dan Ridenauer call the hard-hitting action on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for Falcon Hockey.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here in the Colleen Center studio, Falcon Radio studio here in Bowling Green, Ohio. Bowling Green Falcons and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks in halftime right now. Miami holding a 15-point lead as we get closer to second half action now. Want to turn it over to you guys. Who are you looking at? We've talked about a lot of players, but who are you looking at for a potential player of the game watch for both teams?
Yeah, I'll start with Bowling Green. Javante Campbell, 9 points so far in this one. The highest player in scoring on the rest of the team is Sam Towns with 5, a couple other players at 4. So really, he's just by far the main culprit to be the player of the game and has 2,000 career college points. I believe the number is 20 he would need in this game, so 11 in the second half to reach 1,000 for Bowling Green. And then on the Miami side, Luke Skaljak has 16 points. 19 is his season high. When he previously faced Bowling Green, he scored 15. So seems to have Bowling Green's number, and right now really just reining it in on the Falcons.
You know, I'm going to mimic what Adam just said. I'm going to go Javante Campbell as well for Bowling Green's side. This offense just revolves more around Campbell, and it goes through him. So Bowling Green's going to need a chance to get back in this game. It's going to have to be led by him and the effort that he brings on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, with 9 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal off of 20 minutes of play, they're going to need more of that aggressiveness on defense. I'd like to see him kind of get a couple more steals if given the opportunity. But on the other side, I'm going to go with Peter Sutter with 10 points on Miami's side. Sutter, 10 points, again, averaging about 14, almost 15 points a game. I think he's going to be a huge factor to keep an eye on in the second half, and they got to find a way, Bowling Green does, to slow him down offensively.
Yeah, for myself, I think for the Falcons, I'm going to go with Sam Towns as my player of the game, differentiating myself from the other two here, because he's the only other player on the Falcons who has played in the entire game so far, and he's been doing a good job on defense, really being a good anchor for the Falcons' defense right now. Also like to point out, I believe he is the only block for the Falcons at this point in the game. And then for Miami, I'm going to go with Brant Byers. He's also had a block for Miami, so I got a little bit of a theme going on there. But he's played 16 minutes so far, has 9 points, and has also been doing a pretty good job at shooting, and has been pretty much a good, solid third threat for this Miami offense so far.
All right, yeah, I mean, obviously, looking at Sam Towns as well, I think you really need him to step up in the second half if you even want a chance to come back in this game, because as good as Javante Campbell is, you cannot keep relying on him over and over and over and over and over again. You know, you can't just have one man doing it. You got to have your good support group around you, like we see with Miami, 6 players averaging over 10 points. So lots of efficient scoring there, and you're going to need that from Bowling Green if you want to come back in this game. So we're going to take another quick break and wrap things up here after that for the Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show. Keep it right here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
Back here on the Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show in the Colleen Center. I'm Sam Bork alongside Adam Duffin, Trey Kennedy, Jacob Kopaz. It's been a great night so far here with you guys. So we're going to take another look here around the MAC. Obviously not as much action going on. Obviously being a Friday night, not too much happens in the MAC. But Trey, what's going on around there and around college basketball?
Yeah, only one other game has occurred today in MAC play. Akron Zips coming away victorious 78-65 over Ball State. And other than our current game that you're listening to, Bowling Green and Miami, VCU lost to St. Louis. St. Louis, the number 18 ranked school in the country. They won 88-75. And currently, in the second half, with 9:15 left, Purdue, ranked number 7, taking on Indiana. And Purdue is up 75-49. And so those are the other two games that are going on here today.
Well, yeah, great comeback effort from Purdue after falling to Michigan there. So we've got about a few minutes left here, so let's just talk about, the second half, a little preview of it. What do you want to see more out of from both teams? Miami obviously going on a couple runs in that first half. How do you limit that if you're Bowling Green?
I'd start Miami. They don't really need to adjust too much. Their offense has been amazing. Defense has done enough to win because 45-30, that's on pace for 90-60. It's not going to perfectly end up that way, but they're taking care of business right now. Bowling Green on the other hand, they've made only 2 3-pointers. They're going to either have to start hitting from outside or they're going to have to be very efficient in the paint. And if you're going to play it where you're still not attacking from 3-point range, you got to play really good defense. You got to stop Miami in some way. And especially like you guys talked about earlier, going on runs is a huge thing in basketball, and it's something they're going to have to do, I think, almost out of the gate of the half. If you let Miami get even more of a cushion, it's going to be almost impossible to do anything about it on the road.
15 points is not a significant deficit where you can't come away and kind of come back. Like Adam said, it's very paramount for us to get going forward strong and fast in that second half, because if they get on a leash and they start going on another big run, it can get out of hand very quick and that they can't come back.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you guys just said. First of all, they got to come out strong and hard. And if they don't do that, it can be over very quickly. They need to get probably a couple strings of runs going together. And then, it's pretty obvious, but you got to stop Miami from going on those giant runs and getting away with it.
Certainly a tough task to do, but we will see what happens. We are just about underway, ready for the second half action. So that's going to do it for us here in the Falcon Media Sports Network halftime show. Let's send it back out there to Oxford with Tyler Kavlitz, Artie Abrego, and Foster Rostai. Take it away, guys.
Second half about to begin here at Millett Hall. Great job, as always, all of you back in the studio. Make sure to stick around to hear their post-game show. I don't know why I said it with an accent. They're their post-game show after the game concludes here in Oxford, Ohio. They're doing a great job, as always, back there in the studio. But 45-30 is Miami's lead over Bowling Green. Red Hawks, number 22 team in the country for a reason. They are showing it right now. Bowling Green starts the ball going left to right across your radio dial. Miami will go right to left. Falcons going into the Miami student section. Javante Campbell reverse layup does not go. Rebounded by the Red Hawks. Here comes Miami on offense for the first time in the second half. Luke Skaljak, spot up three-pointer, drills the deep triple.
I mean, that long break didn't steer the Redhawks' momentum at all. What a great start there by Skaljak with the three, and they're now up to 41% from the field.
5 for 12 on three-pointers here today. Sam Towns kicks it to the corner. Josiah Shackelford, he responds with a three-pointer of his own.
And that's going to be something needed for the Falcons, somebody else to get that offense going, and especially from behind the arc.
Ball in the hands of Skaljak once again. Thought about a triple from the same spot. Kicks it to the corner. Nobody there. Grant Byers moved to his left as Skaljak fired an overhead pass into where he thought Byers would be in the corner. Went into the Miami bench. A rare miscue on offense by the Redhawks. Bowling Green gets the ball the other way. Javante Campbell, one steal away from tying his own single-season program record. He has 9 points on the game. He's Bowling Green's leading scorer. Dishes it out. Top of the key. Josiah Shackelford hits his second straight triple. Shackelford heating up. And it's now just a 12-point Redhawk advantage, 48-36. Suter with the ball, over to Skaljak, right wing. He'll launch a three-pointer, too strong off back iron. Troy Glover, the second, rebounds it. Javante Campbell brings the ball up the floor on the left side. And we're going to have a whistle. Going to be a foul on Antoine Woolfolk, it appears, down low.
Looks like they're giving him a little shove on that offensive screen that Glover was trying to set. Give the foul to Woolfolk. And, Glover just getting down there trying to get Campbell open. And Woolfolk fighting through that screen, just gets his arms up a little too high. Called for the foul.
Javante Campbell, Javon Ruffin, Troy Glover the second, Josiah Shackelford, Sam Towns, the 5 on the floor for Bowling Green. It is Elmer, Woolfolk, Skaljak, Suter, and Byers on the floor for the Redhawks. Campbell trying to hand it off to Ruffin in the corner. It's knocked out of bounds. Will stay Bowling Green ball. 13 seconds remain on the shot clock.
Bowling Green, again, really trying to attack that three-point range offense. I mean, they've had Shackelford hit 2 threes. They try to find Ruffin in the corner. They're still really basing their offense from beyond the arc against a really good three-point shooting team, the best in the MAC.
Peter Suter gets a break. Justin Kirby into the game as Campbell drives inside, takes contact. He is fouled as he floated up a layup with his right hand. So Javante Campbell will go to the line for 2 free throws. He's second in the MAC in free throws made this season. He has hit 140 at the line this year.
And it's just so great to have somebody who can knock down the free throw at that just high of a level for the Falcons. And shooting into the student section for Miami, who misses the first one.
Campbell just under 78% from the line on the year. He's scored double-digit points in 14 straight games, trying to make it 15 with this free throw. He does as he splits the pair from the line. 11-point Miami lead, 48-37. If there was a chance for Bowling Green to get back into the game, it's going to be this next few-minute stretch. The Falcons have to capitalize right here, right now.
I mean, the key is just to stop them on defense, which they haven't really been able to do so far tonight. You got to stop them. You got to get them some empty possessions, and you got to step up and play physical.
Ian Elmer drives inside. The floater is pure at the MAC logo inside the paint. Javante Campbell blazing down the other end. Left-handed layup does not go. Rebounded by Antoine Woolfolk. Woolfolk in his pink shoes bringing up the floor. Campbell tried for a record-tying steal. Couldn't get it. Grant Byers will launch a triple. Too strong off back iron. Offensive rebound, Justin Kirby. Kirby kicks it out to Elmer. Now in the hands of Byers into the wing for Skaljak. Skaljak driving inside. Step back Jay in front of the free throw line. No good, but there to rebound it and put it back is Justin Kirby. And that's Miami's offense working well.
And you can't let them get second chance opportunities like that if you're Bowling Green. If you want to come back into this game, they cannot have 2 or 3 opportunities to get buckets.
Three-pointer no good, but Glover there to collect an offensive rebound. Shackelford with it now to Towns. Top of the key to Campbell. Campbell guarded by Kirby, driving inside, right-handed layup does not go. Offensive rebound by Glover, his putback nowhere close, but Campbell flies in for an offensive rebound of his own, and he will go back to the line after being fouled. We'll see who they assign it to.
I think they're going to get Woolfolk again. I think it's going to be a shooting foul as well.
It will be on Antoine Woolfolk.
And it's going to be Glover shooting free throws. They're going to get the foul on his shot attempt.
So it must have happened during that battle in the paint between the two of them. It was pretty physical, so they must have gotten wolf cloak.
So it would be the shooting foul as he went up in the motion. And that would explain the errant shot. Glover misses the first at the line. He has not been good from the free throw line this season, now 26 for 52. He went 7 for 11 from the line on Tuesday against Kent State, where he scored a season-high 17 points on a perfect 5 for 5 shooting from the field. Shooting into the rowdy student section of Miami. His second attempt is good. 52-38, Redhawks lead the Falcons. 17 minutes to play in Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio.
Should mention about that student section, the swimmers are not out yet for the Redhawks fans.
Have not seen it. That's a good point. Justin Kirby, three-point attempt, no good. Offensive rebound for the Redhawks. Antoine Wolfolk slams it home after Scout Jack gave him the opportunity. Josiah Shackelford will give to Javante Campbell. Campbell, top of the key. Falcons trail 54-38 against the number 22 team in the country. 16 and a half minutes to play. Campbell at the free throw line. Bounce pass down low to Glover. Glover triple teamed but gets the layup to go. Really no contest as he got good positioning in front of all Miami players and got the 2 points for Bowling Green. A 14-point deficit now, 54-40. Three-pointer going to be launched by Justin Kirby from the near side wing. No good. Apologies, that was Ian Elmer launching the three-pointer. Kirby was fighting for an offensive board. It will stay Miami ball after it was last touched by Bowling Green.
And Miami up by 14. This would be one of those opportunities where you'd see Bowling Green needing to really fight on those second chance opportunities. Miami really looking for second chance opportunities really to extend that lead.
Scaljak inbounds to Atlason. Atlason guarded by Shackelford. Sends Shackelford to the ground. It's going to be a blocking foul. That was a mismatch there. Atlason 6'8", 235. Shackelford 6'4", 212.
And the Redhawks keep finding these mismatches against the Falcons. They've had Peter Suter against Troy Glover a couple of times, and now the Elmer Atmason, the 6'8" forward against Josiah Shackelford, only 6'4". So they're really finding their way through the zone and finding those mismatches for the Redhawks offense.
Atlason's first from the line rattles out. A very good free throw shooter. 82.8% on the season, 5th in the MAC, so that is a rare miss for him. He is statistically the second best free throw shooter on the team, best if you go by qualified numbers. Trey Perry's 84.6% on the year. He's only missed 4 out of 26. Today, Atlason does not have a point as he misses both. So a rare trip to the line for Almar Atlason. Bowling Green will take it. Under 16 to play. Next dead ball will bring us to a media timeout. Miami 54, Bowling Green 40. Javante Campbell with the ball, top of the key. Gives it to Javon Ruffin, right wing. Ruffin moving towards the free throw line. Dishes out. Wall, right wing. Wall driving inside. A floater. Airballed. Offensive rebound and put back by Javante Campbell. But there was a whistle.
And he's going to get a foul. He's going to have free throws after the fact, after we go to this media timeout.
They are going to count it. I wasn't sure if they're going to count the shot or not. They're going to count the 2 points. It'll be an and one opportunity.
And this is what Bowling Green needs to do. They get the ball down into the paint. They're struggling to shoot 3, 4 for 13 from behind the arc. But what's one of the best ways to get that fixed? Offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities. Miami is doing a great job of really attacking that offensive board to extend the lead. Bowling Green's going to have a lot of ferocity to get second chance opportunities.
So Javante Campbell starting to heat up for the Falcons. He's at 12 points. We'll have a chance to add another one on when he goes for the three-point play old-fashioned way when we come back. Miami 54, Bowling Green 42, 15:35 left to play here at Millett Hall. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. Miami 54, Bowling Green 42. Falcons still facing a double-digit deficit. They have trailed by as many as 18 points today here at Millett Hall. 15:35 left to play in the first half. Tyler Kablitz alongside Foster Alstein and Artie Abrego from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Said a couple minutes ago when Bowling Green was trailing by 11 that this was the time they needed to capitalize on They've held it at about the same mark the past couple of minutes, have not made much of an advancement. Javante Campbell starting to get going on the offensive end. What do you need to see out of Bowling Green if they are to get right back into this one and really test Miami down the stretch?
I want to see some physicality on defense. I think a lot of times they're letting the Redhawks get away with easy ones. That floater towards the end of this timeout really signaled it. Troy Glover didn't really step up to contest. You really want to play physical on defense. You want to play close quarters against this team. Obviously, they're going to stick with that zone because we haven't seen them move out of it all season. But you want to play physical, and you want to make sure you don't find yourself in mismatches on defense.
Javante Campbell misses the free throw. Just 1 for 3 from the line today. Ian Elmer with the ball, guarded by Campbell. Switches on to Sam Towns. Now into the hands of Luke Skaljak. Skaljak guarded by Wool. Thought about a step-back jumper in the paint. Instead hands it to Justin Kirby, who drives inside. Left-handed layup is good. 56-42, 14-point advantage for the Red Hawks. Javante Campbell, left wing for Bowling Green. Moves to the top of the key, swings it over to Wall. Wall three-pointer, Rainbow did not go. Rebounded by Kirby. Rebounded by Elmer. Elmer gives it to Atlason, now to Kirby in the corner in front of the Miami benches. Three-pointer offline, taken by Javon Ruffin as Elmer hits the ground. Myra Wall driving inside, creates separation. Wall, the layup is good. 56-44, Bowling Green back within 12, 14.5 to play. Justin Kirby left alone, gives it top of the key to Skaljak. Skaljak over to Kirby, they're playing hot potato. Now it's in the corner, Elmer hits three-pointer, falls. Relentless offense by Miami, they just do not let their foot off the gas.
And it's relentless ball movement, not in one man's hands. Passing back and forth, trying to find the open man. And because Bowling Green is still in that 1-3-1 zone, the corner opens up.
Javante Campbell, floater, heavily contested with contact as he was falling out of bounds. A nice shot by Campbell, 59-46, Miami leads. Gonna be another three-pointer launched away at the top of the key by Elmer. That one is no good. Myra Wall on the other end, drives inside, little Euro stepped into a floater. He's so good with that floater package of having different options when he gets into the paint with separation. 4 quick points for Myra Wall over the past couple possessions. And once again, an 11-point game. Miami 59, BGSU 48. Scramble for the ball. Sam Towns jumped on it. I believe Sam Towns may have jumped on it and Bowling Green called a timeout. So it is a 30-second timeout regardless. It would appear that it's Bowling Green ball, but again, we are at this situation, 11-point deficit. The question is, will Bowling Green be able to close it any closer with 13:26 left to play and really make this a game down the stretch?
Well, the way their offense has been moving the last couple of times down the court, it hasn't been in the hands of just Javante Campbell. They've been finding other players with the ball to move around, get the ball down in the paint. Myra Wall, last couple of shots have been great. Getting down in the paint, decelerating, accelerating, really finding off-speed kind of shots. And Bowling Green, to continue getting back in this game, they got to have, paint touches, and then they got to get, Miami has to be one and done on that defensive end for Bowling Green.
When you look at the in the paint battle, both teams are pretty even here. Both have 26 points in the paint. But you want to see the attack more from BG because they're just not hitting their shots from outside the arc at a consistent level. You had Josiah Shackford hit too early, but they haven't really gone back to that yet. You're going to fight the battle inside the paint. I like the use of Myra Wall with those floaters. He's got those very long arms, so he's very good at getting those arms up and hitting those floater shots. So you want to see that as well. And then for Miami, of course, you have so many weapons. You have Suter, you have Skaljak, you have Ian Elmer shooting from three in the corner, and you have that insane ball movement. So if you're the Falcons, you aren't going to move out of the zone because we haven't seen them do that all season. But you have to be aware of your surroundings and be aware of where the ball is going at all times when you're on defense.
Yeah, and that's where it gets hard, I think, for Bowling Green to close that gap if they are going to stay committed to that zone. The zone is just so susceptible, like you said, especially to the corner threes, but really to any three-pointer, especially the 1-3-1, if you're able to generate the ball movement that Miami does. Of course, Bowling Green at some point will switch to the full-court press. It's what they've done all season. It's just a question of if they stay committed to that zone, and if they do, can they make it close enough of a contest against this high caliber of an offense?
Well, if they're going to, they have to communicate 100% of the time, because what Miami is doing is overloading one side so that Mayer Wool or Sam Towns has to pick one of the two shooters. And, you know, you pick one, the ball goes to the other one, that's a shot. And with the way the Miami's shooting this season, they're going to knock those down.
On the floor for Bowling Green will be Sam Towns, Javante Campbell, Mayer Wool, Troy Glover II, Javon Ruffin for Miami, Ian Elmer, Luke Skaljak, Almar Atlason, Brant Byers, and Justin Kirby. Javon Ruffin right wing with the ball, trying to feed it down low to Sam Towns. Towns gets it near the three-point line. Looking to spin to his left, does not, kicks it out, Mayer Wool, three-pointer, got it! Big three-pointer for Mayer Wool. Just an 8-point game now with 13 minutes to play. Miami 59, Bowling Green 51. A 7-0 run for the Falcons over the past minute 15.
Mayer Wool up to 9. He's got 5 points in that 9-point stretch.
Brant Byers with the ball, sends Javon Ruffin back, airballs it. Mayer Wool takes it the other way. A chance for Bowling Green to capitalize. Not going to be able to do so. Offensive foul on Troy Glover II as he shoved Peter Suter to the ground. Just a mistake by Glover, and it really kills the momentum that the Falcons had built up momentarily.
Yeah, that's one of those mental mistakes that you can't have, especially against the number 22 ranked team in the nation. You got to be able to just keep an eye on your surroundings, not just run down Peter Suter in that situation.
We'll see if Miami can stop the bleeding. Again, a 7-0 run over the past minute 40 for Bowling Green has got them back into this game, an 8-point deficit, 59-51. If you remember in the first contest, they were down 54-28 at halftime, outscored Miami 55-39 in the second half to make that a 10-point game by the time it was all done and over. Antoine Woolfolk drove inside there and drew a foul. It will be against Troy Glover II, and that is his fourth personal. That is major for Bowling Green in terms of perimeter defense. Glover is their main guy down low, 14 blocks and 4 steals in the past 4 games, and he will most likely here head to the bench in favor of Aiden Goins with those 4 personal fouls.
And yeah, you're going to see Aiden Goins play a lot of minutes now with him out of the game, and you're going to keep Glover off the court probably until I'd say the 5-minute mark remaining, because you're going to have to keep him out for a while. I mean, he's your best one of your best perimeter defenders, one of your best guys on the block. So that's going to be a really tough loss. And Aiden Goins, for as good as he is, he just doesn't have the defensive presence that Troy Glover II does.
Woolfolk hits the first from the line. Close to becoming the third Red Hawk in double digits. He's got 8 points. Stays there after a missed free throw. Notable that Aiden Goins also has 3 personal fouls, so he also has to avoid foul trouble here in replacement for Glover, who goes out with 4.
If he goes out, I would say Camden Carroll might be the next man up in this situation.
Could very well be. Sam Towns kicks it out. Mayer Wool. Wool with it. Back to Towns, top of the key. Sam Towns going to rip a three-pointer. Does not go. Luke Skaljak with a rebound. Here comes Skaljak down on the other end, guarded by Ruffin. Gives it off to Peter Suter, guarded by Campbell. Now to Woolfolk. Woolfolk cross court to Skaljak. Skaljak near side wing. Mismatch against Sam Towns. Sam Towns leaves him alone. Can't do that. Bowling Green got lucky. Ball tipped by Goins, rebounded by Trey Perry. Red Hawks keep it. Peter Suter double team near the baseline, kicks out Skaljak. Almar Atlason, a deep three-pointer. He cans it. Miami back out to a 12-point advantage. 63-51. Defensive breakdown after defensive breakdown on that possession for the Falcons.
I mean, the Falcons just keep getting lost with all this ball movement. They can see their heads are swinging in so many different directions when they move the ball. They're not really sure who the ball is going to and who they have to cover.
Sam Towns down low to Aiden Goins, spins, tries to drop a bounce pass to Javon Ruffin. Ruffin lost the ball, steps out of bounds, trying to save it in the corner. Miami ball as we hit the media timeout. Bowling Green scoreless for their last nearly 2 minutes. Red Hawks lead by 12, 63-51 with 11:10 left to play here at Millett Hall. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. Bowling Green running into some more offensive struggles against Miami as their defense slowly breaks down under the pressure of Red Hawks ball movement. Bowling Green scoreless for the past minute 56. Miami, the number 22 ranked team in the country and the last undefeated team in the nation, leads the Falcons 63-51 with 11:10 left to play here at Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio. Tyler Kamelitz alongside Foster Rosti and Artie Abrego from the Falcon Media Sports Network. We also have Henry Costco here doing some video. Andrew Smith writing a recap and doing social media updates for us on Twitter X at BG_FMSN, and Max Schiff taking some photos as well. All of the content from this game can be found at BG_FMSN on Twitter X and BGFalconMedia.com. Back underway, Luke Skaljak spinning around Javon Ruffin before Ruffin rejects a layup, but it will stay Miami ball. Terrific defense by Ruffin there, who is, I kind of want to say, an underrated defender, a guy that can hold his own in situations.
Yeah,
He's been around the block in college basketball.
Yeah, 75 appearances at Colorado over the past 3 years. I mean, he is a guy that's a little bit underrated on the defensive end. You saw it a lot against Toledo. He's playing really solid defense against Toledo on the perimeter. But, you know, he's often very quiet on offense for stretches. That's why you don't really hear his name mentioned as much. But he's a very good perimeter off-the-ball defender.
Peter Suter airballs a three-pointer, not something you see very often. So still a 12-point lead for the Red Hawks. 10.5 minutes to play. Javonte Campbell didn't get credit for another steal. So as of now, he's tied with his own program record that he set last season at 90 as he spins and misses a layup. So he's one away from that record-breaking steal. We'll keep an eye on that one. Not sure which one they gave him credit for. Skaljak driving inside, blowing past multiple Bowling Green defenders before the layup spins out. Unfortunate for Skaljak and the Red Hawks. Fortunate for Bowling Green, they'll take it. Shackelford to Towns, now cross court to Wall. Wall left wing, top of the key to Campbell. Javonte slowing things down with 15 on the shot clock. Makes a drive inside, knocked away. Gets it back, a foul on the court that will go against Peter Suter. And that will be his fourth personal foul. So Peter Suter picks up his fourth. He will exit. That is huge.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the biggest threats this Miami team has, getting him off the court, something that Bowling Green's done a really good job of these last couple of games, getting big-name players off the court for their opponents.
I mean, Suter is fantastic, but the real star of the show right now has been Skaljak. He's got 19 points. That's who you really have to look out for the Falcons right now.
Miami going to take it the other way. Ian Elmer with the ball. Turned over by Meyer Wall. Woolfolk, top of the key, gives it to Skaljak. Skaljak guarded by Campbell. Cross court to Trey Perry. Going to be a foul on Javonte Campbell as Perry was trying to lob it inside to Woolfolk. It was a mismatch between Woolfolk and Campbell. So Campbell will pick up a foul that will be his second personal. Troy Glover the second off the court with 4 fouls for Bowling Green. Peter Suter also off the court for Miami with 4 personal fouls. Inbound goes to Atlason, knocked out of bounds by Ruffin as he stripped it from his hands. Will stay Miami ball. Trey Perry inbounding. He was inbounding to the left of the basket. Now he'll inbound baseline to the right of the hoop. Palmer looking for an option. Meyer Wool jumping up and down, trying to prevent it. Gets it to Woolfolk. Woolfolk guarded by Towns. He steps out of bounds, but not before Sam Towns is called for a blocking foul. Was trying to stay as square as he could, but the officials blow the whistle.
You can't. He catches that ball on 1 foot. Woolfolk does. You can't be that close to him. Towns is too much a veteran to know to be that close to somebody catching the ball on 1 foot. He's got to back off and just let Woolfolk fall.
Ian Elmer will inbound to Luke Skaljak. Approaching 9 minutes to play, 63-51 Miami leads Bowling Green. Ball knocked away, taken by Meyer Wool, now taken away by Ian Elmer. Elmer gives the Skaljak wide open triple, he connects! Miami's lead grows to 15, 66-51. Ruffin on the other end, driving inside, kicks out Shackelford in front of the Bowling Green bench, reset to Campbell, top of the key.
I mean, this offense by the Redhawks just feels unstoppable. Skaljak, he's got 22 now. He's just pouring it on against the Falcons.
Meyer Wool responds with a three-pointer of his own across from the Bowling Green bench on the near side corner. Cuts it back to a 12-point deficit. Bowling Green has really teetered around this 11, 12-point deficit range for the past few minutes. As Trey Perry drives inside, he will be fouled. I believe that will go against Ruffin. We'll see exactly who they assign it to. Will be a blocking foul. Nonetheless, it will be against Javon Ruffin, his first personal. We have 8:28 left to play. Miami's in the bonus, leading Bowling Green 66-54. Trey Perry, gets the inbound. Puts up a layup. That goes. Are they going to count it, though, is the question. It will not go. I believe it rolled out. So, going to the line, it will be Perry for 2 free throws, and it will be a foul against Sam Towns. First free throws made by Perry. 7 points, 3 assists in the first game against Bowling Green this season. Perry, his first points of the day, misses the second free throw. 67-54, Miami leads Bowling Green.
So pretty notable here. Sam Towns just picked up his 3rd personal foul. So that's Troy Glover the second with 4, Aiden Goins with 3, and Sam Towns with 3. The big men for the Falcons are really racking up the personal fouls that you've really got to watch out for that if you're head coach Todd Simon.
Myra Wool spins to his left, spins to his right, fadeaway jumper, no good. Taken the other way by Miami. Here comes Ian Elmer spinning around Sam Towns. Myra Wool is there for help defense. Now backs off. It's a one-on-one, and he wins it over Towns. The layup goes. Towns not much of a contest. 69-54, a 15-point advantage once again for the Redhawks. 7:45 left to play.
And this defense for Bowling Green, a lot of times on those inbound passes, Miami just finding open spots, using that off-ball movement to get open.
Javon Ruffin trying to make a drive inside, picks up his dribble, kicks out Campbell. 7 on the shot clock. Campbell sidestep to his right, launches a triple. He got it to go. Beautiful shot by Javonte Campbell. Campbell up to 17 points, his second three-pointer of the game, and it's once again back to a 12-point deficit for Bowling Green. 69-57. They just have not been able to close that gap any further. Ball thrown away by Woolfolk, taken by Myra Wool. Here comes Bowling Green, blazing down the other end. Josiah Shackelford puts it in transition for 2 points, down to a 10-point deficit, 69-59. Bowling Green a 5-0 run over the past minute. Antoine Woolfolk, top of the key, guarded by Ruffin. Woolfolk swings it to Elmer, right wing. He'll launch a three-pointer. He'll connect on a three-pointer. 72-59, Miami leads. 6:35 to play.
And you look at these two offenses run. Miami moving the ball, pass to pass. Bowling Green, one pass, one player dribbles it for a couple seconds. They pass it off. There's a lot of standing around, not a lot of second chance movements.
As Myra Wool lost the ball, it's taken by Miami. Trey Perry driving inside, falls to the ground. Will that foul be against Javonte Campbell or Myra Wool? I believe they're going to assign it to Campbell.
We are waiting for the live stats update to give us the official indication. Again, we are up on the moon here, so we can't always see what the refs are signaling.
We'll tell you when we came through. Myra Wool will get assigned it, not Campbell, so good for Bowling Green there as Wool picks up his first personal, and it will send us to a media timeout. 6:14 left to play. Miami 72, Bowling Green 59. The Falcons competing with the Redhawks, trying to get it within range, but Miami still well in control in this contest. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball right here on Falcon Radio. (72-59), Miami leading Bowling Green. Number 22 team in the country, staying in control against the Falcons. 6:14 left to play here at Millett Hall in Oxford, Ohio. Tyler Kamlitz alongside Foster Ostai and Artie Abrego. We've been talking about Javante Campbell and his steals mark. He is 1 away from breaking his own single-season mark. He's also 3 points away from 1,000 career points here at Bowling Green. Would be the first Falcon hit that mark since Daquan Plowden in 2022. He ended up finishing his career with 1,618 points.
And a current Sacramento King is Daquan Plowden as well.
Got his first start not too long ago, a couple days ago. Trey Perry at the line hits the first. Bowling Green's gotten it within 10 in recent minutes, but have not been able to close any further. Down now by 15 points once again, 74-59. Their biggest lead of the game was only 2 points, and that was midway through the first half. That was a 21-19 lead. It's been all Miami ever since that point in the game. Javante Campbell, top of the key. Campbell kicks it out. Shackelford, three-pointer, has a good look, connects on it. Bowling Green needed that one, back to a 12-point deficit.
Well, they're going to need a lot of those Shackelford threes and a lot of defensive stops here without fouling.
Shackelford now the second Falcon up to double digits now. He's got 12 after that last 3.
Trey Perry, cross-court, Brant Byers, back to Perry, near side wing. Over to Byers. Byers fires down low overhead to Woolfolk. Woolfolk guarded by Troy Glover II. He has 4 personal fouls. Another one knocks him out of the game. Good defense and a better offense as Woolfolk didn't make the first one, got his own rebound, put it back up for 2 points. 76-62 Miami, 5:20 to play.
Woolfolk tied for rebounds with his teammate Ian Elmer with 6 for the team lead.
Campbell top of the key, drops down low to Glover. Now open into the corner to Devon Ruffin. Can't can the three-pointer. Rebounded by Woolfolk. His 7th rebound of the contest to go along with 10 points. Luke Skaljak, top of the key. To Byers, fired inside to Woolfolk. Now outside, Trey Perry got the three-pointer to go.
And that's just ball movement by the Redhawks. Get it inside. Shackelford crashes into the paint, and then he gets the ball out to Zelmer.
Shackelford drives inside on the other end. Can't get the layup to go. Offensive rebound by Wool. Does not fall. Todd Simon got in the official's face as he was running down the floor, demanding a foul be called. Doesn't get anything. He's still chewing at the official as it's going to be turned over by Miami on the other ends. Ian Elmer throwing it away. Anthony Stacy coming over trying to calm down Todd Simon, who's livid on the sidelines currently.
I think Bryce Martin came over to do the same thing as well.
Bryce Martin usually the holdback guy for Todd Simon. Javante Campbell, nice feed to Glover down low. Tomahawk slam for 2 points. Falcons still trail by 15, 79-64. Approaching 4 minutes to play. Trey Perry resets to Ian Elmer, now to Woolfolk, top of the key. Over to Elmer, right wing. Thought about a triple, back to Woolfolk. Woolfolk, left wing to Skaljak, now top of the key. Elmer, his three-pointer goes. Miami cannot miss.
They're shooting Bowling Green out of that 1-3-1 zone. Bowling Green's just staying in that 1-3-1 zone is a bigger detriment than their offense has been right now.
It feels like there's been no defensive adjustment from the team. They're still just watching and waiting, and they're not really playing up close against this really strong three-point shooting team.
Meyer Wool's three-pointer no good. Javante Campbell runs and secures the rebound. Javon Ruffin now drives inside, hands it off for Troy Glover II. He's stripped as he goes up, fights for his own rebound, can't get it. Miami takes the ball the other way. They're shooting the lights out once again. 52.7% from the field. They've made 12 of 27 three-point attempts, and the crowd in Millett Hall gets on their feet. Luke Skaljak with the ball top of the key. 3:15 to play. Miami leads Bowling Green 82-64. Now in the hands of Elmer. He'll launch a three-pointer. He got it to go! Miami absolutely on fire! And Bowling Green has no answer.
You let a team, by using that 1-3-1 zone, get so comfortable shooting threes that any shot now is going to be a good one for Miami.
Todd Simon calls a timeout. 6-0 run for Miami over the past 85 seconds. An 11-2 run over the past 3 minutes. The Redhawks, number 22 in the country, lead Bowling Green by 21, 85-64. This one has gotten out of hand for Bowling Green.
And if this crowd wasn't rowdy before, they are even rowdier. It's gotten louder and louder these past couple minutes. These fans, they can smell 27-0 They can smell it. They can smell that undefeated season with only a couple of games left in the season as the Falcons are falling quicker and quicker out of the sky.
Miami trying to extend their home game winning streak as well. They've won 29 games straight at home here at Millett Hall, tied with Akron for the second longest streak in the country. The only team they trail in that category is a team by the name of Duke, who has won 30 straight at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So we will head to a break. Miami leads Bowling Green 85-64 with 2:56 left to play here in Oxford. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. "21-point advantage for Miami over Bowling Green, 85-64, their largest lead of the contest. And these fans here at Millett Hall can sniff 27-0 and 14-0 in conference play, trying to stay the lone unbeaten team in the country and extend their program record in wins and the conference record for best start to a season. Javon Ruffin kicks it. Javante Campbell back to Ruffin, top of the key. Ruffin driving inside. Fadeaway jumper in the paint. No good. Meyer Wall fights for the rebound. Can't contain it. Now gets it. Wall with a reset shot clock. Lost the ball. Peter Studer diving for it with Wall. It will be no signal here.
Not really clear
Looks
yet.
like it's going to be a foul on Meyer Wall.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what they just signaled down there.
It's an interesting one.
It was a lot of physicality. I think it could have gone either way, honestly, with both players diving for the ball, but they are going to call it on Wall. That'll be his first personal.
Miami's in the bonus, with Peter Suter heading to the line. Suter, we talked about Campbell being away from 1,000 career points. Suter's 11 points away from 1,500 career points. Started his career at Bellarmine, and he's been here for the past few years in Oxford. 1-1, misses the first from the line. Rebounded by Sam Towns. Towns brings up the court to Campbell. Campbell driving inside, gets a layup to go, and a foul. So Javante Campbell, a chance for 1,000 points at Bowling Green at the free throw line as he attempts to convert the three-point play the old-fashioned way.
You joined Daquan Plowden, as you mentioned earlier. He also joined one of his coaches, Anthony Stacy, for hitting the 1,000-point mark here at Bowling Green.
Javante Campbell at line, shooting to the Miami student section, gets it to go. Javante Campbell, 1,000 career points here at Bowling Green in his second season with the Falcons. Another accomplishment for Campbell, one of the best players in the Mid-American Conference. 85-67 the score, Miami leading Bowling Green. Just over 2 minutes to play. Peter Suter driving inside, behind the back dribble, kicks out to Luke Skaljak. Skaljak gonna pull a triple, too strong off back iron, rebounded by Ian Elmer. Elmer driving around the rim, gonna be a whistle called before he puts anything up.
And they're going to get a foul on Javante Campbell, which from up here looked like there was a lot of an arm hook, but
who knows, we're 7 miles up here, so kind of hard to tell.
We were trying to figure out what they were chanting. We couldn't really make it out. There are a lot of people in here. It just bounces off the walls.
It's very hard to hear, especially up where we're at as well.
Headsets on don't help. Elmer hits the first from the line. We want Eli.
There
they want Eli Yofan. I have a feeling Travis
He's
Steele
getting
is
up.
going to acknowledge
He's
that. Eli Yofan steps up on the bench. The senior from Miami, and the crowd explodes. You just love to see that. That's what college basketball is all about right there.
I mean, a senior, a culture guy, like you mentioned, be able to play in his last senior game here in front of the home crowd, a packed home crowd. It's just a really nice moment for Yofan.
Javante Campbell drives inside, gets a layup to go. Full court press doing its job for Bowling Green. But there is a whistle.
Here he comes.
Eli Yofan will check into the game and just listen to the crowd. That's terrific.
He's got Nacho Libre cheering him on on the big screen.
That's what you love to see out of college basketball right there.
I mean, it's those small moments that you like to see, like a player getting acknowledged, a record being broken. It's those small things that really, slip through the cracks that you don't focus on that are really nice to see in an environment like this.
Shackelford loses the ball. out of bounds. Campbell inbound with 14 seconds on the shot clock. It'll actually be Thomas inbounding. Thomas, Ruffin, Towns, Shackelford, and Campbell on the floor for Bowling Green. Javante lobs it down low to Thomas. Now back out to Campbell. Thought about a three-pointer. Drives inside. Picked up by Eli Yofan. Campbell goes around the other end. Blocked by Woolfolk, but there is a foul. It will go as the crowd sends down a heavy boo.
That may be the loudest boo the crowd has had all day. It's the foul on Eli.
I mean, the fan
and
favorite.
Expletives being thrown out
Yeah.
from the student section. We'll let you fill in the lines. With
That'll
that
get
one.
us a fine from probably the FCC if we're on WBGU 80.1.
We're on Falcon Radio.
We are on Falcon Radio, but still, not a word you want to use.
Javante Campbell hits the first from the line. Up to 23 points. He's the MAC leader in points per game during conference play. 21.9 coming into today's game. Goes 2 for 2 at the charity stripe. 87-71. Miami still leading by 16 with 86 seconds to play. Full court press on. Miami's going to beat it easily. Woolfolk down the court. Wide open to Yofan. Yofan going to launch a triple. Comes up short as Ruffin closed the gap quickly. Campbell gives it to Towns. Towns in the corner to Shackford. Shackford to Ruffin. Ruffin will launch a deep three-pointer. No good offline. Rebounded by Woolfolk. I have a feeling Miami's going to go back to Eli Yofan if they can.
And he's wide open on the backside right now. They can get that full court pass.
Skaljak guarded by Ruffin. Under a minute to play in Millett Hall. Going to be a stoppage here.
Well, a foul on Javon Ruffin, it seems.
Ian Elmer telling the crowd to get loud, and they respond enthusiastically.
Peter Suter giving some love to the crowd. It'll be interesting to see what attendance is announced as today. Again, capacity here is 9,200. Their last home game, Battle of the Bricks, was 10,640 against Ohio. That tied the program record.
A pair of freshmen getting ready to sub in for Miami.
Luke Skaljak hits the first from the line. Peter Suter will check out of the game for his final senior night here at Oxford, Ohio. Chance of Pete rain down from the crowd.
An Oxford legend. We're going to be one of the top contenders for MAC Player of the Year.
He'll have a strong ace. Him
time.
and Brant Byers each. I mean, in my opinion, you're looking at him, Brant Byers, Delreco Gillespie, I still think is probably the front runner in terms of actual play if you take out team success. Javante Campbell and maybe Jackson Pavletsky gets thrown into that mix as well. That's probably your group of candidates. As a three-pointer is hit on the other end by Bowling Green. And the full court press is on. They'll foul Luke Skaljak. Ruffin hitting the three-pointer. Up to 6 points in the game. Miami calls the timeout as Skaljak was double-teamed in the corner on the full court press. We'll stick here through it. 47.4 seconds to play. Miami 89, Bowling Green 74. Again, this Miami offense is just ridiculous. Scored below 80 or below points 5 times out of what now will be 27 games this season. It's just unheard of as they have 89 here again tonight, approaching their season average of 92.3. No team has really been able to figure out how to stop this offense yet.
No, and it doesn't help if you're Bowling Green that when you put in a 1-3-1 zone, a three-point shooting team like Miami, their eyes are going to widen and they're going to lick their lips because that is exactly what they want a team to run against them, where they can just make some cross-court passes to wide-open shooters in the corner where they can knock those down every day.
.4 seconds left until Oxford can celebrate once again. This Miami team going to have a chance to do something real special this season if they can finish the season the way they've done the first 27 games now of the year.
And we're going to foul, looks like, John Javante Campbell, which is his 5th, and he'll foul out of the game.
So Campbell will exit the game tied for his own program record for single season steals, as he's at 90 on the year. Came into the game leading the nation in that category, 13 more than the next closest. He'll have to wait till the next game to break that record.
Yeah, and it's one of those interesting fouls. I wasn't even looking at where he was at. I was watching the ball on the baseline. That's one of those fouls away from the ball that very much something that you can avoid.
You don't really notice it. Yeah, I didn't notice it first set either. It was so quick. I mean, just out of that timeout into the foul.
No points on the trip to the line by Trey Perry. Bowling Green brings it the other way. Myra Wool swings it to Justin Thomas. Back to Wool in the corner. He hits the three-pointer in front of the Bowling Green bench. 89-77. Wool almost forces a turnover on the other end. Same with Ruffin. It's in the hands of Yofan. Crowd goes crazy again. Up the court to Kirby. Now to Perry. As we're going to have a timeout called, or a travel actually, on Perry. I think that Travis Steele was trying to get a
substitution
timeout. And we will have Eli Yofan checking out of the game. He'll get hugs from the bench for his final senior night. Could be the last game he plays as a Red Hawk. It's very possible.
Well,
He's only appeared in 2 games this season.
I'm not sure what the rest of their schedule looks like, but if they keep playing the way they did tonight, there's a very good possibility that he gets a little bit more playing time down the road.
Trey Perry driving inside, kicks it out. Miami can nearly run out this clock. There's about a 5-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Game clock down to 15 seconds. It'll be stopped at 14.7 as yet another foul by Bowling Green. This one going to be committed on Trey Perry. It'll be by Myar Wool. Makai Leach will get ready to check in for Bowling Green.
What are we doing at that point?
21 personal fouls for Bowling Green after they had 29 on Tuesday against Kent State. So back-to-back games of a high number of fouls.
Just playing undisciplined basketball. I mean, not moving on the offensive end, undisciplined on defense, fouls where you don't need them, especially when there's 14.7 seconds left. There's no need to foul at this point.
Yeah, 21 personal fouls tonight. Very undisciplined, very just another game with in the 20s in personal fouls after Kent State as well.
Trey Perry hits both from the line, 91-77. Miami three-pointer missed by Josiah Shackelford, rebounded by the Red Hawks, and Miami will run out the clock. The Red Hawks stay undefeated. They move to 27-0 overall, 14-0 in conference play. The best story in college basketball continues on as they defeat Bowling Green here today at Millett Hall, 91-77.
Yeah, just a tough loss for BG, but Miami, Ohio firing on all cylinders. I mean, shot the lights out here today. They shot 40% from 3. What a game for the Red Hawks. I should say 43.3% from 3. They shot 51.7% from the field. Just shot the lights out all game. Again, just an amazing story that continues on, 27-0. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have called you a liar if you were to give me that information.
And so many people may just come in here and discredit it because it's MAC basketball. You have to play who's in front of you, and every game, especially in the MAC, it's very hard to win every single game. They're gonna make that run in MAC basketball play, which is just a couple weeks away here for a MAC basketball championship.
And Miami now has 30 straight wins at home. It's now tied for the longest active streak in the country with Duke. And that could very well end for the Blue Devils tomorrow as they will face the #1 Michigan Wolverines. So by tomorrow, you can also have Miami having the most consecutive wins at home in the country. They're the only undefeated team in the country. They are number 22 in the country. It is an all-time season for Miami, and this really, truly is one of the best teams the Mid-American Conference has ever seen.
Absolutely. One of the most fast-paced, high-scoring, a record 30 consecutive wins at home for them as well. Just an insanely good story that comes out of Mid-American Conference basketball. And like Foster said, you can't discredit them. To win 27 games, undefeated, this late in the season, and still playing at such a high level with no fall-off seemingly inside is nothing to discredit.
It is nothing to discredit at all. So, next up, Bowling Green, who falls to 16-12 overall, 7-8 in conference play, and has lost 2 in a row. They will return to the Stroh Center to face Western Michigan on Tuesday, February 24th at 7 p.m. That'll do it for us here at Millett Hall. Before we go off the air, want to send some thank yous first to you guys for joining the call. It was a long trip down here. It'll be a long trip back, but it was worth it. Foster Ostay, Abrego. Thank you, as always, Andrew Smith, doing the recap and social media updates for us as well. Big shout out to him. Henry Costco doing some video for us, and Max Schiff taking some photos for us as well. Again, all of the content can be found on bgfalconmedia.com. But for now, we will send it back to Sam Bork, Jacob, Adam, and Trey as well, back there in the Falcon Radio studio in the Cooling Center. Again, Miami winners over Bowling Green, 91-77 here at Millett Hall. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. Postgame show is up next.
Back here in the Colleen Center in the Falcon Radio studio one more time here. This is our Falcon Media Sports Network post-game show. Bowling Green unable to do it once again against Miami, who remains undefeated at a perfect 27-0, the greatest start to a season in MAC history. It continues on for this Miami Redhawks team, 91-77. They had a few chances there, cutting it a little close, but Miami able to pull away. Let's get a recap of that second half from you, Adam. What happened in that second half?
Well, in the second half, Miami was leading 45-30 out of halftime, and they continued that pace offensively, 46 points in the second half. Bowling Green did score 47 in the second half. They got it going more offensively. Javante Campbell with 24 points. He becomes the 50th Falcon in Bowling Green history to score 1,000 points. He also had 6 assists and 6 rebounds, which also led the Falcons, and his 2 steals. He would foul out towards the final minute of the game as he played game-high 39 minutes of action. And on the Miami end, Ian Elmer had 21 points. He made 5 of his 8 three-pointers to go along with 5 steals. And Luke Skaljak, 24 points, a career high for the sophomore out of Brecksville, Ohio. He had 5 three-pointers of his own as Miami's offense continued to push through the Bowling Green defense with ease.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They really were lighting it up from three-point range in that half. They made 8 of their 13 to finish the game here, shooting 43.3% from 3. The Falcons, they didn't have their worst three-point shooting. I mean, you had a few of those from Josiah Shackelford and also from Meyer Wall. They were able to finish with Javante Campbell in double figures, but pretty much everybody else, Sam Towns was pretty quiet in that second half. Didn't score at all. So really great job by Miami being able to lock him down and really stop Bowling Green from getting back in this game. So, you talk about obviously how Bowling Green has struggled in these matchups against these good teams, and what really was the big key? What really went wrong out there for Bowling Green to not be able to stop Miami at all in that second half?
Well, I look at it and, they just had so much separation at times from the 3 land, and, 43.3%, it's pretty remarkable from 3. And, when they have such efficient shooters shooting the basketball, it's hard to stop, and Bowling Green just couldn't find a way to do that. They had 2 players that scored over 20 points, and when you have those and a combined 4 players in double figures, it's really hard to come by when you have only 1 player over 20 points. And despite having Shackelfeld and Campbell obviously, and then Meyer Wall in double figures, it's really hard to come by and just too much to overcome this high prolific Redhawks offense.
Yeah, we coming into this game, we knew that this was the best offense in the nation, and we got a good showcase of it tonight. I don't know about anyone else, but it really felt like Miami just couldn't miss a shot today. It seemed like they were sinking everything. And as Trey was talking about earlier, 43.3% from three-point range, that's very good. And, for the Falcons, it was like they were just giving them too much space. I believe earlier they heard on the broadcast they were playing a lot of 1-3-1 defense, and that just wasn't helping them at all, to be honest. They were leaving Miami way too open, and they were capitalizing on it almost every possession.
Yeah, and their inability to switch up their defense. You see Miami going on these runs, making everything they can get, and you don't switch it up at all. Like, it's just really frustrating to see as a Falcon fan. You're just letting them just get ahead of this game, and we saw it there. Every time Bowling Green would make a shot, make a three, Miami would come right back, make a three of their own, or a tough basket of their own. So just really frustrating to see from the Bowling Green Falcons. And as we look ahead, now 4 games remaining for this Miami team, and 2 of those are pretty much a gimme game. Obviously, we never know with this conference, but you go to Ypsilanti to take on Eastern Michigan, sitting third to last in the conference at 4-10, and then you go over to Kalamazoo to take on Western Michigan, who once again bottom of the MAC at 3-10. But then things get a little interesting with these final 2 games, taking on Toledo and Ohio. That's a great game, not only because Ohio and Toledo are middle of the MAC, but that could shake things up in the standings, especially with where Bowling Green is at right now, sitting at 7-7 or 7-8 now in the conference. So what are you looking forward to in those matchups for Miami?
Well, I think for Bowling Green, they're hoping Miami wins to try to help catapult them up the standings. And Miami, they just need to not let it get to their head of trying to keep this streak alive. It's something that happens a lot when teams get this hot in basketball or any sport for that matter. But they just got to keep playing the way they have been. Again, their offense has been electric, and they beat Ohio only last Friday, so they get to play them again at the very end of the season. And then Toledo is a team that Bowling Green just beat recently. So in the current forms, they should feel pretty confident in those. And then the 2 Michigan squads you mentioned are among the bottom of the standings. So Miami, it's looking strong for them to finish out the season.
And you talk about Western and Eastern Michigan. Bowling Green taking on those teams as well. They have Western Michigan next at the Stroh Center on the 24th. So, you can come back from dropping 2 games. Your season is not over as much as you want to think it is. You're still right in it, right in the mix in the conference standings. So, you got a big game against Western Michigan, and then you take on UMass, also at home. That'll be next Saturday. And then you end your season in Ypsilanti, taking on Eastern Michigan. You 100% have got to win those games. You have to win out from here on out if you want a better chance, a better spot in the MAC tournament, because we talk about you really do not want to be anywhere less than 5 in the conference standings with just how good the top 3 teams are in the MAC. Miami and Akron and Kent State, teams that Bowling Green just has not been able to beat in this season and pretty much all time during Todd Simon's era. So really important stuff here for the Falcons as we end this season. So what are you looking forward to in those matchups for Bowling Green to be able to bounce back and end their season strong?
Well, look, I think you and I talked about it off air, Sam. Miami, Akron, and Kent State, almost in a class in and of itself. And so, of course, Bowling Green would love to climb those standings. And for Toledo and Ohio's purposes, they need to fight for those positions, because if they slip up a couple of games here and there, they could get back in the position that Bowling Green's currently in. So for Bowling Green's purposes, you want to find consistency. They shot the 3 much better in that second half, obviously going up to 40% from 3. I think 10 points or 10 3-pointers on the day, which is what you really want to see come alive. You just happen to face a team that, again, is so prolific offensively. So if they can get that consistency going and battle from what awesome this second half was, shooting 51.5% from the field, much improved at 35.5%, you got to take that in a positively going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trey, that was probably the biggest thing is really consistency with this team because we've seen it all year. Let's be honest. They have a couple good games and they have a couple bad games, and we're not seeing the same team game in and game out. So I think these last couple of games, especially when you're facing the two Michigan squads who are worse in the MAC standings, those are the games you need to win, and those are the games that are going to set you up for that MAC tournament, where if you do end up facing the Miami, Akron, Kent States of the MAC, hopefully you go into those games at least more consistent than before, and it'll give you a better fighting chance against those top dogs.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So let's pivot over now to our picks for player of the game. A lot of great performances. We saw a couple milestone-setting performances from a couple players here. So who are your guys' picks for player of the game?
Well, it's obviously Javonte Campbell. A couple other players were in double figures, but led the team with 24 points, led the team in rebounds, assists, steals, and hit the 1,000-point mark as a Falcon and tied his steals record. So by far and away the Falcon player of the game.
On the other side, you got to give it to Scaljak. Also, tying Campbell with a game-high 24 points, 5 of 10 from 3, 8 of 16 overall, 4 assists, 1 steal. Played a phenomenal game for Miami and a bright future ahead for this young man.
I'm going to have to agree with Adam and go with Javonte Campbell. I mean, 24 points, hitting 1,000 points in a BGSU uniform, that's pretty big for the program. And also tying his steals record from last year. I mean, even in the loss, it's still pretty big to see those accomplishments, and I think it was just it was a good day for him, even with the loss.
Yeah, you can always say that about Javonte Campbell. He's just so consistent in being the best player on the Bowling Green roster, night in, night out. And now, obviously, setting some milestones with 1K points and tying his record in steals that he set last season. So he should be well in line to break that record, break his record against Western Michigan. So we will look forward to that. But now we look ahead to now women's basketball with their big matchup tomorrow. Another Battle of I-75, always a great time. Trey, you're going to be on the call for that. What are you looking forward to in that matchup?
I'm hopeful Bowling Green can start out fast. As we know, Bowling Green was down 8-0 at one point against Toledo and that Savage Arena in the first go-around. They got to start out very fast. I like Bowling Green's odds at getting turnovers. Toledo's averaging about 18.4 turnovers apiece per game, and if Bowling Green can capitalize off of those turnovers, I think it can go a long way. Hopeful for a nice crowd, and Adam, of course, having a big opportunity for yourself as well.
Yeah, I'll be on the video board pregame for a couple minutes alongside Kevin Hutchinson to talk and lay out the game, also interview a Falcon fanatic and someone else, so it's going to be fun for that. And when I was on the call for the first game, you mentioned that early run. It was a disastrous first quarter for BG. Then they had it to where they climbed all the way back to a 40-39 lead heading into the fourth quarter. So the key for the women's team in this game tomorrow is just make sure you don't let one of those disastrous runs happen, because it really feels like as well that it was the pressure of Savage Arena. So being at home at the Stroh Center, I think you can almost favor the Falcons slightly.
It will certainly be a huge matchup. That'll be at 2 p.m. over in the Stroh Center. So please, if you're able to, make it out there. Make it a packed house for a big-time matchup, especially this late into the season. And if you can't, we will obviously have it over on WBGU 88.1 FM starting at 2 p.m. So big weekend ahead, obviously, for Falcon Athletics. So, well, let's have one more look around the MAC, or the one other matchup we had, and the other scores around college basketball. Trey.
Yeah, just to recap, Akron Zips defeated the Ball State Cardinals 78-65 earlier today. Again, that was the only other MAC game outside of your Bowling Green Falcons versus the Miami Redhawks. Other than that, nationally, number 18 ranked St. Louis defeated VCU 88-75, and the number 7 ranked Purdue defeated Indiana 93-64. And so that rounds out your Friday's night of men's basketball here nationally in the U.S.
And now let's round out this broadcast with our final thoughts of tonight's game. Bowling Green 77, Miami 91. Let's start with you, Adam.
Yeah, it's just it's tough. They were down 15 at halftime, end up losing by 14. They just couldn't find a good enough run to really make it competitive towards the end. It led to Miami being able to put in some seniors towards the end as well, and not really have to worry about it in the last couple minutes. So overall, just I think it's frustrating for the team to not come away with this one.
You just hope that overall, between losing today and Kent State earlier this week, that you don't lose that confidence. There was so much to be happy for after that Toledo victory. They shot the three so well, over 50%. You want to have those same good morale going for you as you tail end of the last couple weeks of the season, hoping you get a favorable seeding and heading into Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, with these last two games against Miami and Kent State, I mean, obviously those are better matchups. And, I mean, those are some of the top dogs in the MAC conference. But I wouldn't say it's all doom and gloom. I mean, you can take some good things out of this game. For instance, BG did outscore Miami in the second half, which maybe that was due to some of their seniors being put in at the end. But I think it's still good to get some more reps in, even if it is at the end of the game. I mean, as they say, the only way to get better is to play someone who's better than you. So I think these last two games are a good example of that. And hopefully they can take what they learned from these last two games and apply it for the next three.
Yeah, we will certainly hope so. That's going to do it here for the Falcon Media Sports Network post-game show. I want to thank you, Jacob, Trey, and Adam for joining me tonight into this late night for this action. And I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in to the broadcast. And I wish you all a great night.